from monthly top-ups despite already earning salaries as public representatives. They include outgoing party leader John Steenhuisen and Tshwane mayoral candidate Celia Brink. Action SA spokesperson Lerato Ngobeni argues that it is unconstitutional for cabinet members to receive extra payments on top of their state salaries.
Action SA has formally lodged complaints with the Public Protector and Parliament's Ethics Committee following serious allegations that senior DA public reps have received additional top-up payments from the party in potential violation of the Constitution.
Deputy President Paul Mashatile says he is prepared to cooperate with the Malanga Commission and clear up any misconceptions around his name. This comes after Gauteng top cop Fani Nkosi linked Mashatile to controversial businessman Vusimuzi Matlala in his testimony yesterday. In October last year, Nkosi's house was raided by police who were searching for Matlala's credit card. Following that raid, Nkosi made a statement to police which also included this anecdote.
He called me again telling me that he needs a card agent as he was going to meet with the Deputy President Paul Mashatile.
But Mashatile's spokesperson Keith Khoza says the Deputy President has never met with Matlala or ever intended to.
Of significance is that the Deputy President does not know the individual referred to in the testimony and has never had any association or dealings with them. Greater significance is that the Deputy President was out of the country at the time that Mr. Matlala purportedly met with him or intended to do so.
Police are yet to determine the motive behind the murder of a female lawyer in the Johannesburg CBD. Yesterday, the 35-year-old was gunned down at the corner of Fox and Joubert Streets near the CCMA offices. Police say preliminary information suggests that the woman was followed by two unknown suspects who opened fire before fleeing on foot. Police spokesperson Dintswalo Sibego says no arrests have been made as yet.
The motive for the attack will form part of the investigations. No arrests have been made at this stage. Police are investigating a case of murder.
The Netcare hospital group has pushed back against the health ombudsman's findings into a baby's death at one of its facilities. The group says it does not fully agree with the conclusions and is considering options, including a formal challenge to that report. The Ombud found that a medication error, along with multiple system failures, contributed to the death in the neonatal ICU at the Netcare Femina Hospital. Mongezi Goko reports.
The investigation was prompted by the family's complaint, with the final report pointing to poor communication, weak clinical handovers and failures in post-mortem processes. The Umbud also concluded that clinical risk was not adequately managed, but Netcare is pushing back, saying while it accepts certain recommendations, it disputes aspects of the findings and how they were reached. The hospital group says it has nonetheless moved to implement changes, including updated medication protocols, stronger handover controls and mandatory forensic post-mortem in medication-related deaths. While Netcare says these steps are aimed at improving patient safety, the Umbud's report continues to raise questions about accountability inside critical care units. Health Umbud Taule Mokwena.
There were outdated medical protocols. There was insufficient takeover, shift handover procedures.
Netcare says it remains in contact with the family, describing the incident as a tragic loss. Monki Ziko, Eyewitness News.
And in France, government has announced some indirect measures to alleviate fuel price rises resulting from the Middle East war. The steps comprise of an easing of some payroll levies, extended deadlines for tax payments, and public loans for some companies. The decisions were made as many countries grapple with the virtual shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz in the Gulf region. It's been nearly a month since the US and Israel launched an attack on Iran. This resulted in retaliatory attacks from Iran in the Gulf region, which have affected the movement of fuel supplies. Gold is trading at $4,399.58 an ounce. The rand is at 16.83 to the dollar, 22.55 to the pound, 19.39 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $112.19 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is just as you approach Heidelberg Road, leaving Sprayview. Please be on the lookout there. And if you're traveling in Maristyle along the R59 North, there's heavier traffic volumes there. This is due to an accident near Nelson Mandela Avenue causing delays.
And in your sport, Bafana coach Hugo Bross will have his first full training session today ahead of Friday's friendly with Panama. Yannick Sinner gets a record 26 successive Masters 1000 straight sets win. And new All Blacks coach Dave Rennie names former player Tano Maga as one of his coaching assistants.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng today with scattered afternoon showers expected. Johannesburg starting at a low of 17 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria 19 and 24 and Vereeniging 17 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Action SA has lodged a complaint with the Public Protector against DA members who receive additional salary top-ups with their government pay.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 8 minutes after 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 24th of March, the year of our Lord 2026. Welcome to the program. My name is Bongani Bingwa, and as always, I've got my colleagues, my fantastic colleagues. You can watch us on our YouTube streaming page. We're streaming to you live. You can see everything that's going on in the studio right now. Muteo Khwaripe is here. A very good morning to you.
Morning,
Business news and so much more.
Watching things by the minute, it's really feeling like a game of yo-yo at the moment. I was saying to Africa, because the price is down 14%. This is oil. You wake up, it's up 3%. Iran says it's not negotiating. The US says there is a negotiation. So
this after the day before he told us there was no one to negotiate with.
Of course.
Right? So we just don't know what to believe. And it just, in some ways, indicates how fickle the markets can be.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said in the beginning. It's going off sentiment, feeling who's saying what, because nobody knows what's really the truth at the moment.
I sent Amuramila a video after work yesterday of someone who was stuck in the most unbelievable traffic, and they posted what it feels like to be on your last written warning on your way to Centurion, and you're stuck where, Amo?
On the traffic.
And on the M1 or something.
It's gridlocked. It's actually towards an interchange on the M1, towards the Baklu interchange. It looks like, and you're heading to, the person explains it as if you're heading towards Pretoria. So you're still not even within the Joburg region. You are going, further from what the scene looks like, and it looks horrible.
No. The things you guys say really matter, hey?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
From traffic to the price of oil, we've been running a series with Camisa Asset Management. They invest differently, and it's all about black sheep thinking. You remember we told you about the guy who reinvented the high jump. Last week we were telling you about the doctor who realized that it wasn't such a terrific idea for doctors to go and perform autopsies and directly assist women in labor without washing their hands. But nobody knew what germ theory was, and this doctor did. Well, he had an idea that there was some correlation between autopsies and touching dead bodies and the fact that women were losing, women who'd otherwise been perfectly healthy were not only losing their babies, but even their own lives in childbirth. And he started telling doctors to wash their hands, and they laughed him out of town. And look where we are all these years later. Today, we've got the fantastic story of Netflix. I think most people understand the Blockbuster Netflix story, right? Blockbuster was, call it a video town of the US. There was a Blockbuster on every block in America. Hundreds and hundreds of stores, lucrative business. People rented videos, paid a nominal sum, took the video back, and of course, if you're late, you paid a fine. And the founders of Netflix found themselves in exactly, one of the founders of Netflix found himself in exactly that pickle. He'd hired a movie, forgot to give it back, was upset that he had to pay a fine, and he thought, surely we could do this better. When they approached Blockbuster with the idea that became Netflix, they wanted a $50 million investment. Blockbuster laughed them out of town. And everybody always looks back on that story as a missed opportunity, but we'll explain why Blockbuster rejected them, why it didn't make business sense. In other words, the idea that has morphed into the Netflix you know today wasn't what Blockbuster was being sold. There were some twists and turns in the tale. And then a really, really concerning one, a lawyer, female lawyer, shot in broad daylight in the Johannesburg CBD. And it's part of a trail of what we can readily now call business killings, business-related killings. We're seeing lawyers being targeted. We've seen liquidators being challenged. We have seen SARS investigators being challenged, and certainly whistleblowers being killed in this way, taken out. What does it mean for the rule of law in this country if legal representatives are going to be afraid to take on matters because they think their lives might be at stake? It's a very, very important conversation. And then just before 9, we speak to Momo Matsunyane, the award-winning actor and director.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
13 after 6. Our shout out, always a question to illustrate something that is in the news that we think you should know about. It's a very simple one today, Amo and Muteo. Have you ever caught someone in a lie, or you yourself been caught in a lie? It doesn't obviously have to be a big one, but were you embarrassed as a consequence? And just how does that feel when you are? I've got a story. It was particularly embarrassing for me because this was in my church days, right? So I'm a Muruti, I'm a righteous man, KG, I never tell a fib, not even not even a little one. And some friends had phoned, and clearly I didn't want to see them that day, and they just arrived outside the apartment where I was living. But I couldn't see the gate. The building was such that where I lived was not in view or sight of the gate. And so they phoned, "Where are you? We're here at your house, blah, 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 at your gate." "Oh, no, I'm somewhere else. I'm at shopping center X or whatever." And I can't remember what I told them, but the essence of it was I wasn't home. About 5-10 minutes later, I now decided to leave to go somewhere. And as I drove out of my gate, there they were.
You were somewhere.
I meant to tell you that I'm going somewhere.
But there's nothing like, you can't even spin your way out of it. You just accept defeat.
The look on their
All I
faces.
remember is they just laughed because they'd caught me in this lie. They just laughed. Right? There was no spinning. There was no I meant. There was no yeah, but. No, you see what I mean? Maybe my fear of phone calls started on that day, hey? Hey, Mateo? Have you been caught in a lie, or you yourself catching someone else?
I've been caught in a lie, and it was, like you say, very embarrassing because I was sent a file with a link, and I was like, check it out, and then let's start the project when you're ready. So the person called me like a few days later, obviously had not opened this email, and I was like, no, I've started, and he's like, okay, let's chat about it in the next few days. Still hadn't started, and then by the time I want to start, the link had expired. And they could only send me.
Now you don't know what was actually
I don't know
there.
what's in there. I don't know what's going on. So I had to say, look, man, I can't access the email anymore. Couldn't you send it to me? And they were like, you didn't really open it.
Did you? And you're like, oh.
Yeah, no, I didn't. So now, no, I don't do that anymore.
Saint Amo, of course, never lies.
Of course not.
Listen, I didn't think I was lying. I was
That's how it starts.
I was telling my kids how to, take care of themselves. They toys, they shoes, everything. Pack, clean after yourself. Until this one time, they were visiting my mother, and my mom was like, yo, I don't know who she was telling, because she wasn't talking to the kids. She was just talking to someone else, maybe an uncle or whatever, but not directly to my kids. And she was saying, I struggled with Amu because she used to be so problematic. She wouldn't clean after herself. I would often have to tell, her brother and sister to help her out because she was so problematic. My son heard this, and he came to me and he said, not what I heard, honey. They said, your mom said, you never cleaned after yourself. And I was just like, I didn't know how to explain or how to come back from that.
The apple clearly didn't fall from the tree. He was saying.
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
All right. I mean, you tell me what you think about this. Remember, of course, yesterday was the 8th day of this organized crime policeman, Sergeant Faninkosi, being questioned at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And yesterday he was being questioned by evidence leader Advocate Matthew Chaskelson about his possession of a credit card that reportedly belongs to Vusumuzi Katmatlala, he, of course, the criminally accused. And he couldn't explain, A, why he was in possession of this card, but more importantly, he struggled to explain transactions that went off on that card whilst it would have been in his possession. Have a listen to this exchange, and you tell me if he was caught in a lie.
In the jet ski for 3 months before something strange happened and somebody managed to withdraw cash on it on 10, 11, 12 December, 37,000. Or, and I put it to you that this is much more likely, you had it in your possession not just on the 23rd of December, but over that entire period since you collected the jet ski in September. And so that those withdrawals would have to have been done by you. What's your answer to that?
No.
So how do you explain these withdrawals on the card on 10, 11, 12 December? Who would have had access to that card?
I would not know.
Well, you must know because you had the card in your hand on the 23rd of December. Are you saying that you didn't have it?
On that particular day that I had the card with me in December, it was not the first time coming across the card. But in December, the card was on the jet ski. Even in my statement, I stated that there are things that I used with that card, with the permission of Mr. Matala, to buy the boat seats, boat cover, and a service kit for the jet ski and the boat.
Look, it's a bit of a convoluted story in some sense, right? Because, of course, this card was left in a jet ski that belonged to somebody who had at that point been deceased, right? And so he says the card was in that jet ski, so he couldn't explain who was making all those transactions. But of course, from time to time, he would. Unsatisfied with what you've just heard there, one of the commissioners, Advocate Sandile Khumalo, kept on pressing Faninkosi about the answers he'd given. Have a listen to this.
But you're not answering the question, Sergeant Nkosi. On the 10th, 11th, and 12th of December 2024, there are ATM cash withdrawals reflected in the statement. Was it you who made those withdrawals?
I can't remember, your commissioners. One, I've got no reason to lie about it. I had the card with me, and I used to use it maybe 3 or 4 times.
So he did have the card. He did used to withdraw it. Why the runaround explanations? Have you been caught in a lie, or someone you knew? Did you catch them in a lie?
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the
20
talk.
after 6, Mateo Khariba, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning, are you furthering your education or does it matter where you got your education? Are you one of those people that says, I'm a Vitsi and that's the brand you're going to stick with? Or does it matter the skills you get at any accredited institution?
Remember we interviewed the Africa Middle East guy from LinkedIn just a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And one of the things he spoke about was your original qualification eventually stops to matter. It's what you've been doing since you acquired it. Have you been consistently improving your skill set, learning new things, trying out for new qualifications? And I think that matters. I'm part of a fellowship. It's an academic fellowship, the African Leadership Institute, and I'm very proud to be one of the people who are participating in it right now. And it is the idea of continuous improvement that does matter to me, absolutely.
Tell you why I'm asking.
Coming up.
702.
Weather.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng. Scattered afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. One of my nieces is graduating at UJ today, so they'll appreciate the scattered showers coming a lot later in the day, I can tell you. Temperatures peaking at a low at 22 degrees in Johannesburg today, 24 in Pretoria, 23 in Vereniging. Cape Town, clear skies, a high of 36. Now that sounds lovely. Bombela peaks at 27 degrees. Mahikeng, 25. That's the same for Bloemfontein. 24 is your high in Gqeberha in East London. It's 27 for Kimberley. 26 in Durban, where it'll be cloudy with scattered showers.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic brought to you by South African Airways. See just how far you can go with them. Book at flysaa.com now. Amo?
Well, Bongani, in Marysdale, we've got an accident on the R59 North that happened right near Nelson Mandela Avenue. It's causing delays from Swartkopies Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North, so this is between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. While traveling in Sandton, traffic lights are out of order at the M1 North and Grayston Drive. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Good morning, Bongani. Good morning, Bongani and the team. Bongani, a few years ago when I started my employment journey, it happened that I came across a friend. And I was working for a big conglomerate. So my friend started going on about what happened when he left university, because I remember he didn't graduate. Started telling me that he's working for this company situated in Sandton. He started going on and on and on. And you could tell that, no, man, he's saying this probably because he heard it from someone, or maybe he's once been there. Bongani, you should have seen his face when I was telling him that I work for the company. I work in the very same building. It's like you could maybe just sneak under the car and hide, but it was quite an embarrassing moment for him, Bongani.
Open up earth and swallow me. Except people like Fanikosi don't seem to have that. I mean, there are times he just laughs. And I get so irritated. I don't know if you've been watching the proceedings at the Commission of Inquiry, when he laughs and then he bows his head and then he can't remember, and then can we look at it later? Can we come back to that one later? I just think the fact that he's been there for 8 days should give him some indication of just how much trouble he is in.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Things you need to know at this hour. Listen to this. This was a really, really stunning story yesterday. The Gauteng High Court finding that the deceased Musiwa Likota, the former leader of COPE, was not of sound mind and unable to manage his financial affairs before his death. So during this time, his partner, who is also a former COPE MP, Advocate Luzelle Adams, allegedly withdrew and transferred large sums of money from his accounts without proper authority. In fact, it's no longer alleged now. That's what the court has found. That's what she did. And so the court has raised serious concerns and, in fact, ordered her to pay the money back. This is a matter, of course, that was raised by his estranged wife, from whom he'd been separated, Musiwa Likota, since 2010. They married in 1975. And this new lady in his life was now managing his affairs. And there are all sorts of allegations, including that she was transferring monies from Likota's investments and savings and so on to her own personal account and paying off certain things. And I think it's about 600,000 rand. What a sad story, hey? You're in the twilight of your years. If not everything is quite there, and this person is just milking you, pulling you by the nose and just milking you dry. Yo. Donald Trump, never out of the news, is he, the US president? He's claiming now that regime change may be underway in Iran, and he says he is suspending, remember the threat, the 48-hour threat from the weekend, and he was going to obliterate their energy infrastructure, their electricity infrastructure. Now he says, well, we've started good talks and they're making good progress. They're talking to people. Just yesterday, I played you a clip, of course, where he says we've wiped everybody out and we don't know who to talk to. But now he's talking to someone. The Iranians, of course, are saying there is no such thing. Do you have a leisure activity you're passionate about that is completely different from your day-to-day job? The footballer Erling Haaland has invested in Norway Chess. It's a new global competition called the Total Chess World Championship Tour, and the tour aims to grow the sport of chess worldwide with major prize money and top players like Magnus Carlsen expected to feature. And Haaland says chess sharpens the mind and shares some similarities with football. Who would have known that Haaland is a chess fanatic? On this day in 2002, Halle Berry became the first black woman to win the Best Actress Oscar for a lead role for portraying a struggling widow who falls in love with her husband's death row executioner in Monsters Ball. And on this day in 2021, Spotify paid about $7 billion to music rights holders, making up nearly a quarter of the global music industry's revenue, and reshaped the industry by breaking down barriers and forever killed the CD. How much streaming do you do? And what is for you the biggest difference between how you listen to streamed music and how you used to listen to the physical music? Do you miss physical CDs and records? Tell us why.
702.
The newspapers.
All right, Swisa Zulu out for the morning. We welcome back Mbali Dlamini.
Good morning. Good morning, Bongs.
What's grabbing your attention in the papers?
Well, I don't know how big you are on content creation.
Ooh.
Not so much, but I follow you on Instagram.
I do a bit of mine, my own.
For monetization? Maybe not?
No, not quite a lot of that. No.
Okay, I'm asking you this question because there's a
Who'd
study.
pay me to be as silly as I am on social media?
You'd be surprised. Mark Zuckerberg is paying out money by the millions.
Let's hear it.
Actually.
What am I missing out?
The Japan Times has a story about around $20 million in advertisement revenue that's been lost, and this is due to illegal videos that are being posted of Japanese broadcasts. And so people are stealing actual content from other people, placing it on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok for monetization purposes. And these big corporations are placing their ads in these videos,
on those platforms.
And those people who actually created the content are not seeing the money in their pockets. And this $20 million was in a space of a month, which kind of gives you an idea of how big the pie actually is and how far people are willing to go to get that money in their pockets.
So I posted a video of myself singing in the rain yesterday. Are you saying that there was potential money to be made?
I think you must let me manage your socials and I'll teach you a thing or two.
Okay, you'll tell me about singing in the rain.
I'll tell
why
you
I
about
shouldn't.
singing in the rain.
The front page of the Sowetan this morning. Essential services ground to a halt in Mfuleni. Their woes continue. The business front day page. The JSE bleeds at a pace last seen in 2008. Citizen, failing cities will drag country down. That's a conversation we had yesterday, isn't it?
EWN Business.
All right, Muteo Haripe, what prompts your question this morning?
Well, I want to know about which institution you would be proud of and whether you're furthering your education. I'll ask you the question. A private education institution, Advtech, says it's applying to have its institution fully accredited as universities, taking on already existing top institutions. Now, Advtech is Africa's largest private education provider, operating a wide portfolio of schools and tertiary institutions under the Independent Institute of Education. On Monday, the group reported a record operating profit of 2 billion rand for the year to end December. The company says university accreditation for its institutions, Emirates and Rosebank International, will give it more credibility in the sector and open it up to a wider segment. Now, the group also opened its brand new Emirates, which brings Varsity College, Vega, MSA and HSM under one brand in February, with the opening of a new 420 million rand mega campus in Sandton. The group is currently working on a new Emirates Durban campus, with construction expected to commence in 2027, with the phase 1 scheduled to open in 2029. Now, this is expected to accommodate around 8,000 students in Durban and include a purpose-built 500-bed student residence. They're also going for the long-distance education segment, a gun declining straight for UNISA there. The group grew distance tertiary enrollments by 40% in 2024 and a further 34% in 2025 to about 10,500 students. So are you looking into new institutions that are accredited?
Look, I mean, I wish them all the success.
Acquire new skills.
I wish them all the success. I give it to those families who bet on the new institutions in the context of the likes of Damlin, right, being in trouble as we've seen in recent years. So I think many of us who are older and conservative trust the names we know. But hey, the market is not very, very big, is it? Where's the rand?
Rand at this hour still reeling against the dollar, 16 Rand 94 cents against the US dollar. It's down more than 0.5%, 19 Rand 62 against the euro, and at 22 Rand 69 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,347 an ounce. It's down 1% this morning, with platinum at $1,851. Brent crude up 4% this morning at $104 a barrel. More business after 7.
Will we get the money? That's the question. Mbalil Dlamini.
Well, Bongani, Trade Minister Park Stau says that the war in the Middle East may deter this and it could delay key investment pledges ahead of South Africa's upcoming investment conference. He says some delegates are now uncertain about attending due to the volatile environment. Stau says over 1,000 delegates will attend the conference in Johannesburg, with around 65 pledges set to be announced from companies representing 21 countries. Government has set a target of 2 trillion rand in investment by 2028.
We can't ignore the reality that there are people who are anticipated to be here. And some of them have said, well, wait, let's see how the environment unfolds. We might or might not be able to come. Depends on flight availability and all sorts of issues that are there for consideration.
We move now to a story which contains some disturbing details. A survivor of child sexual abuse, known only as Stephen, says he is relieved that his abuser, Ian Whiz, will finally be held accountable. The Wynberg Regional Court found the former Rondebosch Boys Primary School teacher guilty of indecent assault yesterday. Whiz abused Stephen when he was a 12-year-old grade 5 pupil at the school in 1988. The court rejected Whiz's defense that he did not remember the complainant and could not have harmed him. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
Stephen told the court that Ian Whiz would stop him in school corridors, pretend to help him tuck in his shirt, and then touch him inappropriately. He also testified that Whiz would act aggressively and behave in a sexually inappropriate manner towards him. Stephen says he hopes other victims will also find justice.
I don't know if I should cry or I don't know if I should cry or feel relieved. 35 years and I realised that finding justice is this way.
Whiz also faces 90 charges linked to the abuse of more than 60 boys in Scotland 5 decades ago. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
A group of KwaZulu-Natal police officers is receiving psychological support following a shootout that claimed the lives of 4 suspected criminals. The suspected robbers and kidnappers allegedly opened fire on the officers as they approached them last night in Bel Air in the south of Durban. Spokesperson for the police, Robert Nechiwunda, says the officers have been instructed to take some time out for compulsory counselling.
We are grateful that during the shootout no officer was injured. All of them are fine, although they will be taken for psychological debriefing. Nobody wants to hear sounds of gunshots when they are on duty. So we remove them temporarily from active operations so that they can go and be taken care of by our psychologists.
And in the US, a jury has ordered Bill Cosby to pay over $19 million in damages to a former waitress. This after it found that Cosby drugged and sexually assaulted her more than 5 decades ago. Donna Motzinger said the former star gave her wine and a pill that left her incapacitated in 1972. Cosby has denied the allegations, along with similar claims filed by dozens of women. The lawyers for the 88-year-old have indicated that he will appeal the latest judgment. A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng, with scattered afternoon showers expected today. Lows of between 17 and 19 degrees and highs of between 22 and 24.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. While traveling in Marysdale, queuing traffic along the R59 North between Swartkoppies Road and Nelson Mandela Avenue. That's due to an earlier accident.
The top story in EWN, Trade Minister Park Stau says the war in the Middle East could delay key investment pledges ahead of South Africa's upcoming investment conference.
The Clement Mangatela Show on 702.
The Clement Mangatela Show also takes on the field reporter format, and that's why we will be on the ground when there's a massive building collapse in the CBD or a big meeting in Washington, D.C. in the Oval Office between our president and the U.S. president, or at OR Tambo International Airport to receive our national sports teams with pride. We go where it matters for the benefit of our listener. A listener of the Clement Mangatela Show is a companion. That listener is aware, quite opinionated, smart, playful, but also can be serious when the moment requires. They care about accountability. They are helpful, quite generous, and always willing to step in to help other 702 family members when I ask them to. So in essence, that's a wholesome listener.
The Clement Mangatela Show, weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
Congratulations to the lucky Powerball winner who bagged a mind-blowing jackpot of 108 million rand on Friday after playing on a banking platform. Play Powerball Plus for an estimated 52 million rand jackpot this Tuesday, and you could make it rain lots of cash this March. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda Push Up Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Every bunny needs a holiday, and with FlySafair's affordable fares, there's no excuse not to go. That's right, if there's one hunt worth taking seriously this Easter, it's the hunt for a great fare. That's where our low fare finder comes in. Simply enter your destination and your travel month, and you'll quickly be able to pinpoint the cheapest days to fly. Head to flysafair.co.za and use our low fare finder to lock down those Easter flights now. FlySafair, for the love of flying.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Calling all wedding planners and venues, restaurants, conference centers and hotels. Do you need tables and chairs? Home in One has it all. Do you need cutlery, crockery, table linen and restaurant equipment? Home in One has it all. Do you need tents, gazebos or umbrellas? Home in One has it all. Affordable prices, the latest trends with 2 branches in Pretoria and Johannesburg. Shop online at homein1.co.za because we're your number one choice. Home in One has it all.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question from Outsurance? 3,000 Rand is up for grabs. You send us an answer and you'll win 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. This is an answer based on something that piqued your interest during the show. Then later, someone else will ask a question to win 2,000 Rand. You stand a better chance of being selected if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. Hope all is well. Good show as always. You know what? One thing that I was actually thinking when I was listening to Faningos yesterday is he pick and chooses when he wants the translator to actually translate to him, and it looks like the commission was actually indulging him. And for me, it was a bit weird because if he sees that he's actually been cornered, he'll just say interpreter, and that was very funny for me and weird. Great show as always. Thanks.
Bongani, good morning. Good morning to the team and 702 lenders. You know, the person whom I'm feeling sorry for is the lawyer. Oh my God. I'm sure he must be feeling like, what in beep did I get myself into? Like, honestly, I look at this man, I'm like, I know if it was me, I'd have said, no, please find another lawyer. He must be in a very difficult position.
I don't know. So one of the issues yesterday was explaining the more than 350,000 rand in cash that was found in his possession when the police did their raid. And one of the things he tried to explain was that that money was for a vehicle that his brother was buying. And one of the questions then that arose was, why was a signature in the so-called, sale, deed of sale, signed after the raid? Signed by whom? The lawyer. So I don't know if the lawyer is finding it all too embarrassing. Listen, the more they indulge him, the deeper the hole he is digging.
EWN Sport.
Coming up on 702, we'll look at how one breakthrough idea and unconventional thinking reshaped the world and delivered better outcomes in black sheep thinking. It's powered by Camisa Asset Management. Invest differently. Camisa Asset Management is a licensed FSP. Cindy Paluta, let's talk football. Bafana. They've got a full coaching session today. Preparation.
Yeah, because the majority of players, Sundowns players, were given a break yesterday. Some other players are playing over the weekend, etc., etc. But today they hit the ground running. They're in Durban. They're training at the Moses Mabhida Stadium because they're playing an international friendly against Panama on Friday. Coach Hugo Brosh.
I know that at the moment Panama was announced as our opponent for 2 games in March, that some people were asking Panama. Why Panama? Well, Panama is ranked 30 places higher than we, so that means something. Secondly, it's a Middle American country, same style of playing like Mexico, our first opponent on World Cup, so I think it was the right choice.
Kaizer Chiefs confirmed co-coach Cedric Kaze has been called up for national duty by the Burundi Football Federation. Burundi plays Chad in the AFCON prelim qualifiers in the international break. Chiefs have agreed to release him for this period. Tennis from the Miami Open, where Jannik Sinner set a new record. His 6-1, 6-4 win over Mutet takes him past Djokovic with a record 26 successive straight sets wins at the Masters 1000 level.
I'm very happy, but in the same time, I don't play, for this, I'm very happy to be here. It has been for sure a tournament I've also missed, last year. So I'm very happy, and everything can happen. This sport is so unpredictable. So we try to keep the attention very high as much as we can, and then we'll see what's coming now in the next round.
Sinner through to the last 16 was Zverev, who needed 3 sets. On the women's side, the 6th seed Anisimova has been knocked out by Bencic, who cruised to a 6-2, 6-2 win and will play golf in the quarterfinals. In rugby, All Blacks coach Dave Rennie announcing his coaching team to take the side through to the 2027 World Cup. The only member to keep his place from Scott Robertson's era is the forwards coach Jason Ryan. Neil Barnes is the senior assistant coach, and Rennie's brought in former All Black Tano Maga as the defence coach. And in the Varsity Cup last night, Tuks came from 14 points down to beat Emirates Comets 27-24 and go top of the table, while Marty's 4-point win over Northwest has put them third on the table. UJ keeping their semi-final hopes alive. They beat CUT 29-13 and UCT lost to Shimlers 40-33. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Get ready for bigger and better savings at Dis-Chem. We're bringing you more value and more reasons to shop. Swipe your Better Rewards card and save 320 Rand on Biogen Premium ISO Whey Protein, now just 824 Rand 39. And get Vicks Extra Strong Cough Syrup 100ml for only 71 Rand 99. Save 28 Rand. Look out for the Better Rewards icon to shop Better Rewards brands. Offers valid until 12 April. Only at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
Without insurance, saving on your car insurance feels like catching your favorite song on the radio just as it starts. 43-year-old Gloria saves an unbelievable 513 Rand on her 2024 Audi Q3. Get a quote now, and if insurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
This Easter, it's time to do it proper. Join us at Chamberlain's superb Easter savings from the 19th of March to the 6th of April. We have everything you need to make your spot lekker. Grab the Tenco camping chair for just 449 Rand. That's camping, done proper. Light the fire with the right gear. That's braai, done proper. And give your home a glove with 10% off paint mixing on Chamber Value and Finest 1983 paints. That's DIY, done proper. One store, one stop, one proper setup. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Good morning, Uncle Bongani and Auntie Shia. My name is Kabo Entla and I go to Brooklyn Primary School. And when I grow up, I would like to either be a film producer or a president. And I would also like to join the Whiz Quiz because 4 years ago, my brother got a score of 8 here at the Whiz Quiz. And I'd like to crush that by getting 10.
Oh, okay. I love the competitiveness. Let's see how well you do.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN
This
Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. You were telling us about delays on the N3 North. Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. We still have got queuing traffic between the Airlines Interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic on the R59 North in the Maristyle area due to an earlier accident between Swartkoppies Road and Nelson Mandela Avenue. But we still have got queuing traffic there, so please be on the lookout and approach with care. If you are traveling on the M2 West, some delays between Heidelberg Road and the Crown Turnoff. And if you're heading towards areas like Village Main, we've got more delays on the M2 East. This is now due to an accident reported just near Sawa Street, causing those delays coming out of the Crown Interchange. Traveling in the city of Tshwane, we've got delays on the R80 South Mabopane Highway. This is towards the Hairpin Bend. Peak time delays there. There's also peak time pressure on the N1 South approaching Sefako exit. That's in the Montana area, just as you come out of the N4 exit. So please be on the lookout for those roadworks and approach with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You know that feeling when that long meeting turns into an email instead? That's how good it feels to see the Outsurance pointsman on your route, isn't it? Everyone feels the difference when they're on the roads. They've been easing traffic congestion so everyone gets to where they need to be quickly and safely, and they've been doing it for the last 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag pointsmanlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Bongo spot on the mark. When it comes to qualifications, you've got to keep up to date with market trends. AI is now the new thing. AI analytics. If you want to apply for a job overseas, you need to have AI engineering, AI analytics, the whole katuti. So yes, we should all constantly be renewing. And even if you're in a professional field, you have to do X amount of credits and you need to do what is happening in the marketplace. So we should all be studying and not watching all the crap that they watch on television, all this endless rubbish that consumes 3 to 4 hours of your time. Use your brain for something more intelligent.
Easier said than done, right? So much easier to just sit on the couch and veg for a few hours. But you're absolutely right. We've all got to constantly be upskilling, improving our skills, getting involved in some or other program. It doesn't have to be a formal qualification, but you've got to be able to demonstrate that you have not stagnated, right? Your CV must show the growth that has happened in your professional career. Otherwise, somebody else will get the job.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
All right, today we're playing with 10-year-old Gabo Entle, who goes to Brooklyn Primary School. Gabo Entle, I'm told you got 7 in the test round.
Yes, that is true, I did.
And now you want to do better, not only against your own score, but your brother, who played a few years ago and got 8.
Yes.
Is he listening?
No, not at the moment.
We'll send him the video. Don't worry. All right. Okay. Good luck to you, Kawentle.
Thank you.
10,000 Rand up for grabs. I love the competitiveness, hey? All right, KG, start the clock. True or false? Water covers most of Earth's surface.
True.
Correct. In fairy tales, how many stepsisters did Cinderella have?
2.
Correct. What are female cattle called?
Cows.
Correct. What is 13 plus 13?
26.
Correct. Which is an inland province, the Northern Cape or the Northwest?
The Northwest.
Correct. True or false? There are 5 languages in South Africa's national anthem.
True.
Correct. For which sport is Japan famous? Sumo wrestling or soccer?
Sumo wrestling.
Correct. When you feel sick or unwell, you feel under the what?
Weather.
Correct. The famous book title is Charlie and the what?
Charlie and the chocolate factory.
Correct. You did well. Listen, you did better than your brother. You did better than in the test round. We just had one more word and then you would have won 10,000 Rand. You did so well. We just ran out of time, hey? 900 Rand is what you walk away with. Very well done, mate. 900 Rand.
Yes.
Well done. He wanted to beat his brother, and he did. He got 8, the brother. He just got 9. Very, very well played. If you're aged 10 to 13 and you want to play the Whiz Quiz, send us a WhatsApp voice note to 072 702 1702. And who knows, we could be calling you.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702. You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Breakthrough ideas can look wrong at first. They challenge long-held assumptions and step away from consensus. They can test popular thinking and test conviction. But over time, they reshape the world and deliver better outcomes. And that's the power of black sheep thinking, which is powered by Camisa Asset Management. Invest differently. Better investors for over 20 years. Camisa Asset Management is a licensed FSP. So over the last few weeks, we've begun this series looking at innovators who've changed their game. We've spoken about the guy who reimagined the humble high jump and the doctor who saved many, many lives simply because he instructed others to wash their hands. He couldn't understand why people could go from an autopsy and then go straight to delivering babies without washing their hands. It's routine today, but it was a breakthrough idea at the time. So each week on 702 Breakfast, Black Sheep Thinking, powered by Camisa Asset Management, will share the stories of people who chose a different path. And this week's story comes from the world of sport. Well, not so much. That comes from the world of television, videos, and film. You remember there was a time when Blockbuster, think Videotown, was all over the United States. Every street corner had a Blockbuster until Netflix entered the conversation and completely redesigned what was possible. In fact, Netflix approached Blockbuster as one of their earliest potential investors, and they were turned away. I want you to listen to marketer extraordinaire Rory Sutherland, who is the vice chairman of Ogilvy UK, explaining why Blockbuster was in fact right to reject that Netflix offer.
The whole of Netflix exists because somebody understood this stuff. Netflix was a marketing breakthrough, not a technological breakthrough. What it was that originally it was just you requested a DVD, they sent it to you, you watched it, you sent it back. This is why I always defend Blockbuster Video for not buying Netflix, because at the time Netflix wanted $50 million for their idea, they hadn't cracked the acquisition and the retention problem. They cracked that by almost in desperation coming up with 3 DVDs at any one time, change them as often as you like, no late fees ever, $19.95 a month. The insight in a sense psychologically was nobody knows what film they want to watch tomorrow. Okay, it's one of the reasons you have sandwich shops, which is that people don't know at breakfast what they want to eat at lunchtime. And people don't go, actually, on Friday, I'd really like to watch How to Train Your Dragon. But when you have 3 at any one time, the odds are that in that 3, when you feel like watching a film, one of those 3 films will appeal to you. The kind of epiphany was apparently when they looked at one of their warehouses and thought, wouldn't it be better if we could store these videos in our customers' homes rather than storing them in a warehouse and waiting for people to ask?
No fulfillment.
And so well, they kind of realised.
Yeah.
Now, it was a brave move, because if you think about it, and there probably were people who did this, there might have been people who watched 15 films a month, and you lost money on those people. But you are making the same bet you make when you open a gym, which is that people won't come as often as they think they will.
So essentially, Netflix came up with a different model. Instead of paying for each film you watched, you paid a once-a-month subscription, and you could watch as many films as often as you would like. And then over time, they developed the idea that you could watch, say, even 3 films at a time. So you could take out 3 movies from their warehouse. And eventually those movies would be stored in your own home and exchanged in that way. And of course, it's morphed into something entirely different to the Netflix we know today. So when anybody ever tells you that Blockbuster rejected Netflix, the idea wasn't quite as fine-tuned as it became later. What's the point? People with black sheep thinking not only come up with innovations, but they are resilient and adaptable. When they are rejected, the answer is not no. They don't see the answer as no. They see the answer perhaps as not yet. Investment markets, herding happens, crowded optimism or pessimism, prices pushed too far or too down. At Camisa, they invest differently. They find opportunity. They look up and far ahead, think unconventionally, embrace ambiguity, and have the courage to stand apart even when it's uncomfortable. And that's black sheep thinking. For over 20 years, it's been better for investors. Camisa Asset Management. Invest differently. Camisa Asset Management is a licensed FSP.
702. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Morning, Bongani and your team. You know what I think of Lukota's second wife, or so-called second wife? I think she realizes, and that is me following up on the story, because it is also reported that she took this second wife to the first wife to introduce her as a partner. And when the first wife asked, what does that mean? Lukota could not explain. So I think this lawyer wife knew that, she won't actually get anything from the estate of Lukota, save for their child, the child between Lukota and the lawyer. So she thought of paying herself from the estate prior Lukota's death, because after death she wasn't going to find anything. Oh boy, he got herself into trouble now. Simon in
Centurion, I think part of the allegations is that some of those transactions may have taken place after he died. So I don't think it's quite that simple. And anybody who thinks they're going to get everything from somebody who is still separated from another, I guess they've got to think again, don't they?
702. Coming up, the big interview.
A lawyer gunned down in broad daylight in the Joburg CBD. What's behind the rising phenomenon of business killings? We've seen SARS investigators targeted. We've seen liquidators killed. We've seen business owners targeted and kidnapped. And now lawyers are also being killed. It's a growing phenomenon, and it should worry all of us. We'll explain all of that after this Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
A leaked financial report lays the spending of the DA bare, and a probe into a hit-style shooting of a legal rep is underway. Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Outgoing DA leader John Steenhuisen has been revealed as the highest earning benefactor in the party, receiving a salary that matches that of the country's deputy president. A leaked report signed in December by the party's former federal finance chairperson, Dr. Dion George, names party leaders who currently receive additional financial support. In the document, George raises concerns that Steenhuisen's combined party and government salaries match the package offered to the deputy president. Alpha Ramushwana reports.
On top of his salary as the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen receives a clothing allowance and a federal leader's stipend from his political party. The stipend rose from about 14,000 rand in 2021 to 16,000 rand the following year, before jumping to 58,000 rand in 2024. After becoming minister, the party also added an extra 40,000 rand on top of his cabinet salary. In a leaked report, former DA Federal Finance Chair Dion George expressed concern that Steenhuisen's combined government and party earnings now match those of South Africa's deputy president. George recently claimed on X that the DA is showing double standards, noting that party spokesperson Karabo Khakau was disqualified from running for a top position over alleged financial issues, while others continue to receive salary top-ups. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
At the same time, Action SA has lodged a complaint with the Public Protector against the DA members who receive additional salary top-ups with their government pay. Action SA spokesperson Lerato Ngobeni argues that it's unconstitutional for cabinet members to receive extra payments on top of their state salaries.
Action SA has formally lodged complaints with the Public Protector and Parliament's Ethics Committee following serious allegations that senior DA public reps have received additional top-up payments from the party in potential violation of the Constitution.
Gauteng organised crime top cop Fani Nkosi has denied collecting a bag full of money from alleged crime boss Katiso KT Molefe, saying the bag was full of biking apparel. CCTV footage before the Madlanga Commission shows Nkosi arriving at Molefe's Sandton home empty-handed and then leaving with a plastic bag. Last November, head of crime intelligence at the SAPS, Dumsane Khumalo, testified he believed the bag Nkosi was carrying was filled with money. Tabiso Koba reports.
Sergeant Fani Nkosi has the number of Katiso KT Molefe saved as Daddy K on his contacts list, saying he views the controversial businessman as a father figure. Nkosi, who's an avid biker, says he got Molefe interested in the sports. He says Molefe purchased apparel from the Harley-Davidson store, however it didn't fit him. Nkosi says the bag he's captured on CCTV footage taken from Molefe was filled with biker apparel he was going to return to the Harley-Davidson store. Evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson says the bag looked like it was carrying something else.
Would that be consistent with a pair of gloves, some T-shirts, and a helmet shield?
That's correct.
How?
Because if I was the one who was saving them, that's why I know those are gloves, T-shirt, and a shield.
So, I suppose we'll just have to draw our own conclusions from what's there.
Evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson says Nkosi's story doesn't add up, as the apparel was bought 11 months before it was collected and he didn't end up returning it to the Harley-Davidson store. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Police are yet to determine the motive behind the murder of a female lawyer in the Johannesburg CBD. Yesterday, the 35-year-old was gunned down at the corner of Fox and Joubert Streets. Police say preliminary information suggests that the woman was followed by two unknown suspects who opened fire before fleeing on foot. Police spokesperson Dintswalo Sibego says no arrests have been made yet.
The motive for the attack will form part of the investigations. No arrests have been made at this stage. Police are investigating a case of murder.
And an investigation is underway into the cause of a Colombian Air Force plane crash. The crash in the south of the country left 8 people dead. According to reports, there were 114 Army personnel on board, as well as 11 crew members. Officials say the injured are being treated in hospital for various scales of injuries. The plane, a US-made C-130 Hercules, is used for transporting troops. Gold is trading at $4,347.64 an ounce. The rand is at 16.83 to the dollar, 22.70 to the pound, 19.63 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $104.17 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes on the N17 West. This is between Osborne Road and Rondebolt Road. That's due to roadworks along this route. More roadworks are causing delays on the R21 North heading towards the city of Tshwane just as you approach Olifantsfontein Road. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N1 South between the Brakfontein Interchange and Olifantsfontein Road.
And in your sport, Bafana coach Hugo Broos will have his first full training session today ahead of Friday's friendly with Panama. Yannick Sinner gets a record 26 successive Masters 1,000 straight sets win. And new All Blacks coach Dave Rennie names former player Tano Maga as one of his coaching assistants.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng today with scattered afternoon showers expected. Lows of between 17 and 19 degrees and highs of between 22 and 24. The top story in EWN this hour. Outgoing DA leader John Steenhuisen has been revealed as the highest earning benefactor in the party, receiving a salary that matches that of the country's deputy president.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 7 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast on this Tuesday, the 24th of March, 2026. What are your views on the DA's top-up payments for its leaders, particularly those already in government, earning salaries, of course, at taxpayers' expense, but the DA essentially topping up those incomes, including that of the leader, John Steenhuisen, who is now understood to be the highest earning benefactor of that top-up scheme. I know Action SA wants to take this matter to the public protector. They're saying it's illegal for the DA members to be receiving additional money from their official incomes. They're saying it's unconstitutional, in particular, for cabinet members to receive extra payments on top of their state salaries. That notwithstanding, what does it say about the leader of the DA, who on top of his official government salary was getting this top-up money and still found himself struggling over his financial affairs?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Money can ensnare anyone, can't it? This SABC reporter, Natasha Piri, who's now been suspended by the SABC because her name came up at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. This is as Organized Crime Unit Sergeant Faninkosi defended himself against bribery allegations at the Commission of Inquiry yesterday, including a 500 Rand payment allegedly made to this reporter for getting the contact details of the social media blogger Musa Kaula. Listen to how it happened.
Natasha says I'm Musa, and then a number is given. That's at what? 6:41:27. And then at 9:10 p.m., after there was no response from Sergeant Cosby from 6 p.m., she writes, not even a thank you, sis. And Sergeant Cosby says, where can I send token of appreciation? This can only refer back to the number that was given to him and also the reprimand. What I'm saying is, would Sergeant Cosby still insist on that when there's this clear flow of conversation between them? And that conversation culminates in Sergeant Cosby eventually saying, hey, Natasha, I have just sent you 500 Rand to withdraw the cash from any ABSA. Remember to select cash send withdrawal when you go to withdraw the cash.
And of course, Sergeant Nkosi was denying this. He was denying all of this yesterday. And as you can hear, the chair of the commission pressing him on the details because of the exchanges that are now available to be read in front of the commission for everyone to hear. Eventually, Nkosi came to this admission.
To clarify the matter of paying Natasha for the information, I did not pay Natasha for information. I just gave her money because I know her. You will see there, actually, when she says not even thank you, she was expecting thank you from me, but thank you, just thank you. So then I said, where do I send the token of appreciation? Then I further said to her, in paragraph 4, I have everything about him. It's me saying to you, buy Red Bull. It's got nothing to do with him. Relax. So I'm clarifying that issue of saying now, I paid Natasha money for information. I did not.
What were you talking about when you said, where can I send token of appreciation? What were you talking about? And what token of appreciation?
Just a thank you.
Was not thank you for her having given you Mr. Musakaula's number?
No, it was not like that.
Then thank you for what?
Just thank you for giving me information.
Thank you for?
For talking to her, Commissioner.
What information? It sounds ridiculous, right? A token of appreciation. Was that the money? Was that what the money was for? No. It was to say thank you. Thank you for what? For information. What information? I promise you, these commissioners have the patience of Job. But I think the picture that is being, painted there is very, very clear. Right, let's move on to the United States. We're keeping an eye, of course, on their war against Iran. The oil price dropping quite a bit since yesterday. At one point, it was at $114 a barrel. It was at around $100 when we last checked about half an hour ago. And in part because Donald Trump, the U.S. president, says, no, we could be wrapping this thing up very soon. We are in very strong talks with Iran.
Tomorrow morning sometime, their time, we were expected to blow up their largest electric generating plants that cost over $10 billion to build. It's a very good one. There was no dearth of money. And one shot, it's gone. It collapses. Why would they want that? So they called. I didn't call. They called. They want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. And it's got to be no more wars, no more nuclear weapons. They're not going to have nuclear weapons anymore. They're agreeing to that. Any of that stuff, there's no deal.
Do you believe it? Because it was Trump's own deadline that he was going to blow up their electricity infrastructure. The Iranians made it clear to the Gulf countries, if you allow this to be done to us, we'll destroy your desalination plants, we'll destroy your refineries. Everything is going to go up in flames. And now suddenly, Trump, who yesterday we played a clip of saying there's no one to talk to because we've removed all the leadership, now suddenly says there's a deal on the cards. The Iranians, for their part, have denied it and said there is no such conversation taking place. The audio that you're hearing there is Trump speaking to journalists as he's about to get onto an aircraft. And so that's why you're hearing additional noise. So the journalists then press him and say, oh, there are talks. With whom are you speaking? And if the Strait of Hormuz is opened, who is going to control it? Listen to this Sergeant Fani Nkosi type answer.
Control of it. Will Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
Be jointly controlled.
By who?
Maybe me.
You want the United States to be
me and the Ayatollah, whoever the Ayatollah is, whoever the next Ayatollah.
Me and the Ayatollah. And whoever... he's just making it up as he goes along. The other thing you need to know, the Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, firmly denying that he had ever met or had any plans to meet the criminally accused Vusimuzi Matlala. This is, of course, out of the testimony of Sergeant Nkosi yesterday, who says that credit card that he was withdrawing from, Matlala wanted back because he needed it for a meeting he was going to have with Paul Mashatile, the Deputy President, denying all of that. Madagascar's military ruler, Michael Randrianirina, has ordered new ministers to pass lie detector tests as a way to combat corruption in that country. Today is World Tuberculosis Day, which marks Robert Koch's discovery of the bacterium responsible for tuberculosis on this day in 1882. He won, of course, the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine in 1904. And on this day, the OJs reached #1 on the US singles chart with Love Train.
702. Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
Well, a quick traffic update. Amma, what are you seeing on your roads?
Well, Bongani, we still have got queuing traffic on the N12 as well as the R24 West. This is between Edenville Road and the Glulies interchange. There's also still moving traffic on the M1 South between the Baku interchange and Marlborough Drive. Please be on the lookout and keep it safe on the roads. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Congratulations to the lucky Powerball winner who bagged a mind-blowing jackpot of over 108 million rand on Friday after playing on a banking platform. Play Powerball Plus for an estimated 52 million rand jackpot this Tuesday, and you could make it rain loads of cash this March. Buy your tickets now in-store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusha, Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Every bunny needs a holiday, and with FlySafair's affordable fares, there's no excuse not to go. That's right, if there's one hunt worth taking seriously this Easter, it's the hunt for a great fare. That's where our low fare finder comes in. Simply enter your destination and your travel month, and you'll quickly be able to pinpoint the cheapest days to fly. Head to flysafair.co.za and use our low fare finder to lock down those Easter flights now. FlySafair, for the love of flying.
It was actually a flawless process. It definitely pays to switch. I wish we had done it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know, when you claim, your excess is a fixed amount, not a percentage of the claim. For beauty salons, convenience stores, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Do you suffer from heartburn and hyperacidity? To relieve heartburn for the whole day and night with one tablet, a potent once-a-day treatment which was previously prescription only is now available over the counter. Ask your pharmacist for an over-the-counter, long-lasting heartburn treatment. Brought to you by Sandoz.
702.
The Big Interview.
With Bongani Bingwa.
Those were the sounds that were heard yesterday in broad daylight as a lawyer getting out of a car was targeted by gunmen in the middle of the day. The 35-year-old woman, believed to be a lawyer, was gunned, as I say, at point-blank range outside the Commission for Conciliation, Mediation and Arbitration. This is the CCMA at the corner of Fox and Joubert Streets. The gunman, witnesses say, simply walked up to her as she stepped out of her vehicle and fired the shots, walked away and disappeared into the crowd. The killers, it would seem, are no longer hiding. They're operating in the open. What's behind this growing trend of business killings? We saw the insolvency attorney last year, Boa van Niekerk, shot in the head in his Sandton boardroom. In 2023, liquidator Clute Murray and his son were ambushed and killed on the N1 near Midrand. We've seen a SARS investigator targeted. There is a clear pattern here. Who is behind it and who stands to benefit? I've invited two crime experts who can give us a picture of what might be going on. Julian Rademeyer is a senior advisor for the Global Initiative Against Transnational Crime. And we've also got transnational organized crime, I beg your pardon, and the specialist investigator, Mike Bolhuis, on the line. Julian, I'll start with you. Thank you for your time as always. This happened in one of the busiest parts of the Joburg CBD in broad daylight, lots of witnesses. The killer didn't mind. In fact, he just melted into the crowd afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes this incident so disturbing. And I think it flags two
very real issues. One is around the security of courts and judicial buildings in our inner cities. Johannesburg and Cape Town, we've seen targeted attacks on lawyers and others, also including witnesses. Secondly, I think this goes to how entrenched assassinations have become in South Africa, almost as a way of doing business. They're systemic, they're escalating. There's a nexus between organized crime, political corruption, that helps facilitate these events, and ultimately it serves to undermine our democratic institutions. The global initiative since 2000 has documented more than 2,500 targeted killings in South Africa. In recent years, between 120 and 140 a year. So that, by the way, I would say is almost definitely an undercount. We rely heavily on public sources of information. Many assassinations and many murders in South Africa go unreported.
Mike, it's been a moment since you and I last spoke, but often clients will come to you to try and help them investigate incidents of this nature. From what you can make out of the picture that Julian has just painted there, A, do you agree with how extensive he says it is? And who's behind it, do you think?
He's absolutely right. So, number one, our condolences to the grieving husband and family and friends. But this is a clear, typical hit. It's a consideration, contemplation, planned and executed scenario. And this woman was a problem. This lawyer was a problem. And that's how the criminal element and businesses, institutions, gangs, corrupt politicians, even corrupt lawyers, corrupt high-level policemen, as we've seen in the Mahlanga commissions, take out the enemy or the problem or deal with the problem. It's a very easy way out. There are many witnesses, but what do you have? You have a person that clearly made sure the person is dead, 3 shots in the head, slip away in a vehicle. This is a deduction case. It's actually an easy case. You will be able to find out who is the instruction giver here.
Just explain, give us more detail.
Well, this is not a random person, and this is not a random target. This was a clear execution of a person that's been a problem. So in an investigation like this, we will find out who would give an instruction to get rid of this problem.
Mike, and by problem, you mean?
She is the problem. She was targeted. She was obviously a concern to a criminal element regarding the cases or case that she specifically was dealing with. And they decided, as I've said, they considered it, contemplated this, and executed a plan of getting rid of the problem. And that's what the situation is in South Africa. It's easy to do.
The difficulty would be, of course, a lawyer will work on any number of matters. It could be this at the CCMA and others maybe before a high court, a commercial crimes court. How do you narrow it down as to which one it might be linked to?
Well, it's an investigation, and it would take too long to explain, but it narrows it down, though. It makes it very clear that whatever she has worked on, and I believe it's an imminent situation. It might have been something that she has been recently involved, not too far previous. And then the deduction investigation, you investigate all those involved in a manner of speaking. And you can get a clear line if you have professional investigators on it. I don't know if the police, this is a huge problem in our country, have specialized units with proper cybercrime, proper track tracing, etc., because that's where you will find the evidence.
All right, Julian.
The planning.
All right, Julian, Mike says, look, whoever commissioned this, whoever instructed this to happen, took the risk of, we would know, for example, in the Joburg CBD, we'd have cameras, took the risk that with a proper investigation, the trail might lead back to somewhere, certainly to the gunman. That was worth doing when you weigh it up against what this lawyer might have been able to do to compromise them.
Yeah, I think there's Mike is correct. There's a good likelihood that someone could be apprehended. I think, in this case, often targets are also the most vulnerable people. This is a lawyer representing Sibanye-Stillwater, a huge mining company in various legal cases. They were having very often, apparently, at CCMA cases, and would be the easiest person to target, given how appalling security is in the inner city around court buildings and so on. But I think there's another element to this, in terms of how brazen these killings have become in recent years, and the profile of the victims has increased. And the simple fact is that only around 10 to 15% of murders are solved every year. It's easy to get away with this. There's a level of impunity. There's no real sense of deterrence. I think for many hitmen, there's a rational calculation that their chances of being caught are very, very slim. And, that for them carries manageable risk. Also, the profile of some of the hitmen that we're seeing, people coming from specialist units like the police task force, allegations around Army Special Forces being involved in the assassination of a Hawks investigator. All of that points to an enormous sense of impunity.
I was about to say, even though we might be able to get some evidence and some, clues as to this case, Julian, we still haven't solved some of the murders I mentioned in my introduction. The Klutemari case, the Boa van Niekerk case, those murderers are still at large.
Exactly. And I think that again is why we've seen this growth over time, not only in assassinations, but in South Africa's murder rates. We went through a period post-93, 94, where there was a 55% decrease in the murder rate over 18 years. Since 2011, that has basically been slowly growing, and much of that can be tied to how our criminal justice system was weakened during the state capture years, how corruption has seeped into not only the police service, but also, you see private security companies being implicated in these kinds of incidents. You see people working at private security companies. You have, an economic crisis in the country. You have people who are drawn from the likes of the 28 gangs, for instance, in the Western Cape, the Prison, the Numbers gang, or people drawn from the taxi industry, originally primarily in KwaZulu-Natal, who have experience in killing. That's what they're good at. And contract killings in South Africa by international standards are cheap. So, they have a marketable skill. There's been a commercialization of assassination in recent years, whereas historically we saw, assassinations very much tied to political violence in South Africa. That has moved on significantly.
It all ties in. Appreciate your time. My guests are Mike Bolhuis, who's a specialist investigator and crime expert, and Julian Rademeyer, senior advisor for the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. It does tie together, does it not? The evidence we've been hearing at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, some of the clips we play on a daily basis, aren't just for entertainment. When you've got police officers at the very highest levels talking about luxury goods, bags, associations, meetings, phone calls, discussions with figures from the underworld on their own versions, perhaps with implausible explanations, but nonetheless not denying the fact of those. When you've got senior politicians in cahoots with these fellas, it ties together. Have we become a lawless country?
EWN Business.
Let's talk business news now. Mutau coal miner Thungela hit by lower coal prices.
Thungela Resources saw its shares dive 7.5% on Monday after it reported a 4-year loss for 2025. The coal miner's 4-year loss hit 7.1 billion rand. The weaker period was driven by impairments linked to lower coal prices and currency pressures. The group reported non-cash impairment losses of 8.8 billion rand. Coal prices dropped by 27% year on year in 2025, with thermal coal settling around $90 to $100 a ton as the market corrects from previous highs. Demand has also softened due to renewable energy and increased domestic production in China and India. The miner's revenue was down 17% at 29.6 billion rand. Now, despite the losses, Thungela still generated 2.4 billion rand in cash from its operations, ending the year with 5.1 billion rand in net cash.
Big story, of course, is going to be around Brent crude. It fell, 11% since yesterday. What's the latest picture and what is the sentiment now?
Well, nobody really knows because Iran says there is no negotiation, while the US President Donald Trump says there is a negotiation going on, pausing his plan for 5 days, which gave the oil price a bit of a reprieve yesterday, only to increase overnight after Iran rebutted what he had to say. But looking at our rand, you can still see there is some pressure from that oil situation. 16 Rand 97 against the US dollar, 19 Rand 65 against the euro, and a 22 Rand 72 cents against the British pound. Price of gold is down close to 2% at $4,326 an ounce, or platinum is at $1,838. Brent crude now up close to 4% at $104 a barrel. More business after 8.
Yeah, indeed. It was the Iranian Parliament Speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, yesterday on a social media post saying that fake news is being used to manipulate the oil markets to escape the quagmire in which the US and Israel are trapped. That's what he said on X yesterday. Now we bring you the real news. This Eyewitness News brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Our focus has been on so many other commissions. Mbali Dlamini, bring us up to speed with the Nkabinde Commission of Inquiry.
Sure, Bongani, a very good morning. The Nkabinde Commission of Inquiry has heard testimony pointing to alleged police brutality at the hands of Cato Manor officers. The inquiry is probing the fitness to hold office of Director of Public Prosecutions Andrew Chauke following misconduct allegations against him. Yesterday, a taxi owner from the KwaMaphumulo Taxi Association testified before the hearing. He was part of a group nabbed by that unit in 2009. He told the Commission that the unit was a law unto itself and abused power while addressing taxi violence in KZN's North Coast. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
According to Spamandla Mhlongo, who is the current chairperson of the KwaMaphumulo Taxi Association, he was abused by the Cato Manor officers. He told the commission that after his arrest, he was shown a picture of a taxi boss allegedly killed by police just 3 hours before Mhlongo was taken in. He says this was done to threaten him to comply with their unlawful orders, including signing twisted statements. Advocate Tembeka Ncukaitobi led evidence, reading out previous statements.
Now, item 15 is relevant, which is at 5A57. Were you in any way assaulted or threatened by any person in order to influence you to point out the sins and or points? And the answer here is no. What do you say to that?
Mhlongo says he was forced to cooperate with the officers.
The way I was, everyone, it was visible that I was beaten.
Yes, well, that
it shouldn't be correct to say no. It should be saying yes. So it is why I'm saying it was filled. Then I had no option but just to sign at the bottom of each page.
He says he has marks on his body to prove the police brutality. KZN SEPS said it will not respond to anything that comes out of the commissions yet. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News.
The Western Cape High Court will hear final arguments today to decide whether offshore oil and gas exploration off the west coast will go ahead. Yesterday, government lawyers told the court measures are in place to mitigate risks of oil spills if the exploration proceeds. Fishing groups and environmental organizations are asking the court to overturn government's decision to allow drilling in the deep water Orange Basin between Port Nolloth and Honderklip Bay. Carlo Peterson has more.
Government lawyers say the authorization was lawfully granted and applies strictly to exploration, not production. They argue the risk of a major oil spill is extremely low and concerns raised by fishing communities were considered, with conditions added to ensure ongoing engagement. Natural Justice Attorney Melissa Groening-Groves says the environmental impact assessment had a number of flaws.
Integrated coastal management considerations have not been taken into account, and that the risks associated with such deep water drilling have also not been factored into the decision-making process.
Lawyers for both sides are set to return to court for final arguments today. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And heavy rains are expected to continue across Gauteng, with emergency services in Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni on high alert for possible flooding. This follows heavy rain at the weekend, which left the ground saturated with an increased risk of flash floods in low-lying areas. The South African Weather Service says more showers and thunder showers can be expected. Joburg EMS spokesperson Robert Mulaudzi.
Avoid crossing river streams, monitor young kids to stay away from river streams, and drainage channels. Our motorists are also urged to exercise caution while driving.
Meanwhile, Ekurhuleni Emergency Services says rivers, streams and dams are already swollen, with strong water currents posing a risk to life. Residents living near floodlines are being urged to remain vigilant, while motorists are being warned of slippery roads and hidden potholes. Ekurhuleni EMS spokesperson William Ntadi.
Motorists are as well alerted to be extremely cautious and to ensure personal safety, and to other road users as well. They should follow road rules and regulations.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng today, with scattered afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Lows of between 17 and 19 degrees and highs of between 22 and 24.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in the city of Tshwane along the N1 North. This is between the Flying Saucer interchange and Linwood Road. That's due to an accident. Please be on the lookout there. About a 20-minute hold-up reported along this route. And if you're traveling on the N1 South towards Midrand, queuing traffic between the Brackfontein interchange and Olifantsfontein Road.
The top story in EWN, the Nkabinde Commission of Inquiry has heard testimony pointing to alleged police brutality at the hands of Cato Manor officers.
With OUTsurance, I'm saving a whole 729 Rand.
Another satisfied OUTsurance client saving more money every month. 32-year-old Perushka saves 729 Rand a month on her 2020 Haval H2. And after 3 claim-free years, she gets an out bonus.
Yes, I'm ready for that out bonus.
How much money could OUTsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
A lot of our listeners are asking about our strategic oil reserves. How much do we have in that, and how long could they last us for?
We have about 8 million barrels. If you look at the consumption, that is equivalent to about a month's worth of supply.
A month?
Yes, but I have to indicate that spoke to one of the suppliers. Currently in their stock holding, they've got 2 months worth of supply, and we have 2 refineries. So those refineries do have some buffers with them.
Avafani Chifularo, the Executive Director at the Fuels Industry Association of South Africa.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Winning the work is one thing. Funding it is another. When growth moves faster than cash, Bridgement gives you the cash flow to deliver, even when timing works against you. Apply online in minutes. Get up to 10 million Rand in as little as 24 hours. Apply now at bridgement.com. Bridgement. Business funding simplified.
Are your nails discolored, brittle, crumbly, or appear ragged? Are they thickened or starting to lift off the nail bed? You may have a fungal nail infection, which can lead to discomfort, limit your activities, and have a negative impact on your social life because of the embarrassment. New Turbane Nail treats fungal nail infections by directly killing the fungus. It requires no filing before application and dries in about 30 seconds once applied. Ask your pharmacist about New Turbane Nail and say goodbye to fungal nail infections.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good evening to the host and the listeners. This the case of this woman being killed in broad daylight at CCMA is very easy for the police to investigate. they must investigate the person who the lawyer was going to represent in the CCMA, or who the company with the lawyer that's going to represent. Is very easy. This criminal can be caught even within 24 hours. As simple as that. Go to the cell phone of the person that the lawyer was going to represent. Then you'll find on all the record. Thank you.
Hi, Bongani. I just want to comment about the lady who got shot. As an attorney, yes, I can tell you, it's easier to narrow it down to a specific case, because she went there on a specific date for a specific matter. So even if she's working on multiple matters, it's quite difficult to know where she would be for those certain matters. You would need to have all her files and basically her calendar to know where she would be appearing. But if you know, because both parties get involved or get notified about a specific date, so that's how they would know. And in any case, shooting her doesn't take away the problem. The claim still remains, and the law firm that she worked for still have the instruction to obviously see it through. So another attorney will take over the matter.
Yeah, look, I'm no investigator. As I said earlier, she may have been working on several matters. I think it is not that difficult to find out what a lawyer's movements might be based on their availability. If you're trying to get rid of them and you know they're working on one case, they may not be available for yours because they're dealing with a matter elsewhere on a different day. So finding her, or even following her or tracking her movements, that I don't think would be difficult to do. One of the questions that was being asked yesterday was whether or not those Vuma cams in that area, you know, those cameras that basically take footage from the street, as to whether they were functioning or not. From what I understand, they were. And that's the point, in some sense, is it not? That the gunman, at least, will be identified. That, I think, is certain. But whoever commissioned this hit took that risk anyway. Because, as you heard from my two guests, the vast majority of these types of hits remain unsolved in South Africa. Now, what does that tell you? And of the senior leadership of the police that you've seen, for example, come to give evidence before members of parliament and before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, are you confident that these, remember that song, All the Men of the Green Beret, right? Do you think of them as silver wings upon their chests? Are these men South Africa's best? Right? Do you get that? Do you know what I mean? Are these the guys that are going to crack these cases? Or can the criminals afford to laugh and go, ha, 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 ha? I mean, it's a pertinent question when you consider that a number of senior officers within our criminal justice system themselves admit to being on the take. So forget their competency. Maybe they are competent enough to crack these cases. But are they willing?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by OutSurance. A chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. That's what's up for grabs in the kitty. So first we'll give away 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then later 2,000 Rand if someone else can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask OutSurance for 500 Rand. Now remember, you always stand a better chance of being selected if you have received a quote from OutSurance. Lebogang in Vosloorus, you've done exactly that. You've got yourself a quote from OutSurance.
Yes, I did.
Did you get 500 Rand? All right, I'll leave it there. Lebogang, what's today's question? What's today's answer? I beg your pardon. Give us today's answer, please.
2021.
2021. And because you've got yourself a quote from OutSurance, Lebogang, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and OutSurance.
Thank you.
2021 is the answer. 2021 is the answer. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
7:45. Let's catch up with the world of sport. Cindy Paluta, we've got to get into gear now as far as the World Cup is concerned.
Yeah.
Bafana, getting themselves ready.
Yep, absolutely. And so there's been a lot of criticism around the fact that we're playing Panama in international friendlies. Many people asking why. And Hugo Broos was saying that they're actually 30 places above us on the rankings. So let's start there. But also they have a South American style of play. And I think it's important that we expose ourselves to various countries' style of play, especially the South American style, because we don't really play against them ever. So he says that's the reason. But anyway, so they play this Friday in Durban and then the following Tuesday in Cape Town. Today's their first full training session ahead of the friendlies. But of course, overall, this is a build-up to the FIFA World Cup. That starts the 11th of June. Here's Broos.
It will learn us a lot about the Middle American style of playing football. The result is not that important, even it's important. I don't want to have 2 defeats or big defeats. Be defeated is nothing, because I think we have to learn a lot about those kind of countries.
Kaizer Chiefs have agreed to release co-coach Cedric Kaze for the international window. He's been called up by the Burundi Football Federation for their AFCON prelim qualifier with Chad. Another record for Yannick Sinner. His 6-1, 6-4 win over Matete is now a record 26 successive straight sets win at Masters 1000 level, passing Djokovic's record. Sinner plays Michelson in the last 16.
I'm very happy, but in the same time, I don't play, for this, I'm very happy to be here. It has been for sure a tournament I've also missed last year, so I'm very happy, and everything can happen. This sport is so unpredictable, so we try to keep the attention very high as much as we can, and then we'll see what's coming now in the next round.
Top seeds out in the last 32 are Sim and Medvedev. On the women's side, the 6th seed Anisimova has been knocked out by Bencic, who cruised to a 6-2, 6-2 win, and will play Goff in the quarterfinals. Rybakina faces a tough quarter in Pegula and Sabalenka against Baptista. The Proteas women and men play New Zealand tomorrow in the 5th and final T20 in the series. For the men, it's a decider, while the women go into the game 3-1 down. Henri Dirksen says, though the series is lost, they still have a lot to play for.
Yeah, I think obviously it's a World Cup year, T20, so that's always going to be the bigger picture. That's what we're working towards. But yeah, every game you get to play for your country is a massive occasion, and we definitely won't be taking it lightly. I also think 4-1 sounds a lot worse than 3-2. So yeah, there's definitely still a lot on line for us, and not a game that we're just going to take lightly because the series is lost.
And in rugby, All Blacks coach Dave Rennie has named Neil Barnes as a senior assistant coach. He's also added Tano Maga as defence coach, but keeps Jason Ryan as the forwards coach. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Andile here with more than just a horse betting ad. Bet on the horses at 10Bet and ride with a 20% free bet boost on your deposit. It's more than just a race. It's a 10Bet experience. Join now at 10bet.co.za. 10Bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line is 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Bar Black Sheep. Have you any wool? Yes, sir. More than 3 bags full. We think beyond today, tomorrow, more. Look up, look far ahead. We may choose to leave the herd. There's greener grass where fewer care to tread. Bar Black Sheep. Proof of what we do. Better for clients for over 20 years. Courage, we hold the course for you. Bar Black Sheep. If you want more wool, it takes black sheep thinking. Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP.
Zakes owns an electrical business that lit up the neighborhood. Literally. One small spark, one big legal nightmare. But he has public liability insurance from Budget. The damage was covered and his clients sorted. Sharp. To get public liability cover, visit budgetinsurance.co.za. Budget Insurance, official insurer for good South Africans. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Persia. Pretty tough. There's a crash in Pretoria, Amo.
Yeah, that's correct, Bongani. It's right along the N1 South near Botha Avenue. It's causing heavy traffic volume. So if you're traveling along this route, do expect delays as you come out of the Flying Saucer interchange. And unfortunately, if you're traveling on the northerly direction towards Waterkloof Ridge, there's another accident scene reported right near Lenwood Road. It's also slowing down traffic coming out of the Flying Saucer turnoff. So the backlog is quite hectic this morning. If you were traveling on the N1 South towards Midrand, bumper-to-bumper traffic, this is between the Brakfontein Bloemfontein interchange on Olifantsfontein Road. And then there's peak time delays reported on the M1 North between the Killarney Bends and Greyston Drive. And just in an accident in Lyndhurst. This one is along Club Street. It happened right after Modderfontein Road. So if you're heading towards Linksfield Road to join the N3, please use the Modderfontein Road as an alternative. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Persia Professional Pickup Range. Built tough for South African conditions, Persia pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. So whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Persia has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Persia dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Persia Professional. Landtrek, it's pretty but tough.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. If the answer is 2021, let's go to Kim in Alberton. Kim, what's the question?
Hi, good morning, Bongani. The question is, in what year on this day did Spotify pay about $17 billion to music rights holders, making up a quarter of the global music industry and killing the CDs?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just music, of course, that people have services like Spotify, things like podcast. Are you a Spotify user, Kim?
Yes, I am. I love it.
It's
very convenient.
So tell me, what do you miss? I had to explain to my 17-year-old the other day what a cassette was. She didn't know what a cassette was, and we had to explain how you used to use the pen and the toothbrush to rewind, and how if you were trying to save your Walkman batteries, all of that. What I miss about listening to physical music is I think you forget what music you have. If something is on high rotation, whether it's an album or an artist or a song, that's kind of what you listen to. And the algorithm tries to feed you songs it thinks you want to hear. And those obscure, more random ones, you just completely forget you have them. And that's why we should still listen to the radio. Hey, Kim? 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Spotify, this day in 2021. Now, with Outsurance, saving on your car insurance feels like arriving at the school reunion in your dream car. 32-year-old Parushka saves a whopping 729 Rand on her Haval H2, and you can get a quote now and see if Outsurance can't save you money. Ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Did you know that you are entitled to buy a new, demo, or used car without a service or a maintenance plan? You can also use an independent workshop for all servicing and maintenance needs without your warranty being automatically voided. Independent workshops are entitled to all technical info and parts needed to work on your vehicle, so you can shop around for the best price and service. Right to Repair. It's your choice. Visit righttorepair.org.za.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports, no more disconnected systems, no more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
Buy any Hills pet food and you could win one of 10 holidays worth 200,000 Rand each. Or take the bucks. Scientifically proven formulas for your pet. An adventure for you. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more. T's and C's apply.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
And to the world of viral content we go. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Belle.
Oh, I love this video. Tell us about the rebuild.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, right? Life is full of ups and downs and embarrassments. And embarrassment is a very funny emotion, right? I mean, you can feel embarrassed about something, And others, when you talk about the embarrassment, that you feel to them, will say, well, why did you feel embarrassed about that? There's nothing to really feel embarrassed about. So it's a difficult one to explain, and each to their own is in terms of embarrassment. But, sometimes in life you will go through these downs and you may decide, well, I've got to reset, I've got to rebuild my life. I don't like where I'm in at the moment. So this guy has decided that he wants to rebuild his life, and a couple of things have happened to him in succession, and he felt embarrassed about it, but he is going on a journey to rebuild his life. And he posted this video on Instagram very, very recently, and it blew up and it's gone viral. So let's take a listen to what he had to say about rebuilding, and then we'll chat thereafter.
I'm 35 and my life is kind of falling apart. My business is struggling. My father is right now hospitalized. The woman I loved married somebody else. I have debt. I don't own a house yet. And this is embarrassing. I read today somewhere that the most unexplored emotion is embarrassment, which led me to an idea, and I did something really crazy. I followed an advice. I blocked everybody that I know. I created this new account, and here I'm going to post my story of rebuilding my entire life in public. I'm embarrassed, but I'm not ashamed to rebuild. So, day one of rebuilding my entire life.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
So he is posting, and he did say his father was in hospital there, and he posted an update. His father passed away, sadly, but he is still sticking to his commitment and building each day, one day, 2 day, 3. So it's an interesting one. I mean, his things that he spoke about there, may feel terrible to him, and there may be other people that are in worse situations, often that you find that your problems are not as bad as somebody else, right? But I wanted to talk about embarrassment, right? So what's something that you once felt embarrassed about, but then realized that that was just part of your growth? So it may be an isolated thing. Daily we can go through embarrassments, but there may be one thing that you look back and think, at that time I was so embarrassed about that whole thing, and then months later you look back and then you think, that was just part of my growth. I grew from that, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. It wasn't as embarrassing as I thought.
All right, we'll take your calls on 011 883 0702 and your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. Get all-inclusive fares, so your seat, your meal, your baggage, it's all in. Book at flysaa.com. Amo?
Well, Bongani, there's queuing traffic on the Mark 1 North between Halton Drive and Grayston Drive. That's due to peak time delays there. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N3 North between the Airlines turn off and the Glulis interchange. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
702. Feedback
with Rupfiwa Kone.
Rupfiwa Kone, have you ever been embarrassed?
Yes, Bongani, I have been embarrassed.
Like by that phone that was ringing just 2 seconds ago?
Absolutely, just 2 seconds ago. My goodness. What an embarrassment on national radio.
All right, what do you got?
Oh, Bongani, Whiz Quiz supporters are really not impressed by your quiz mastering this morning, saying that you robbed Khabo of his opportunity to take away that 10,000 rand. They are insisting on us replaying him. However...
You? Guys, a whole replay, yeah.
However, they should be pleased to know that the decisions by the judges are final.
And I'm not a judge.
He did win the 900 rand. These things do happen. You will fumble your words from time to time.
How old is he?
He is 10, if I'm not mistaken. And
he'll
will
get another chance.
Yes, in 3 months' time. So they better listen and he'll get another chance, Bongani. We also received feedback and strong reaction regarding lying. Or being caught in a lie, with one listener actually saying that they were caught in a lie by saying that they were sick. They told their boss that they were sick, and then they went to the mall and bumped into their boss. And many are actually agreeing that lying about your whereabouts is never a good idea.
How about lying never being a good idea?
Yeah,
Period.
at all, hey?
Right?
At all.
Tell that to Sergeant Ngosi. Why don't you? It's time for your latest Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
Daryline James to lay charges against Gayton McKenzie, and Sergeant Faninkosi denies taking money from an alleged crime kingpin. Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Action SA MP Daryline James will lay criminal charges of intimidation against Minister Gayton McKenzie at the Cape Town Central Police Station today. This follows remarks by McKenzie about James during one of his Facebook Live broadcasts on Sunday, where he issued a stern warning against her. James says this came after she questioned Patriotic Alliance Deputy Leader Kenny Kunene's links to those who are alleged to be Gauteng crime kingpins. Babalondenze has more.
Daryline James says she will lay the criminal charges against Gayton McKenzie this morning in Cape Town. She says this follows a series of intimidation tactics and threats spurred on by Minister McKenzie, arising directly from her probing during the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee into alleged links between the leadership of the Patriotic Alliance and alleged Big Five cartel member Katiso Katie Molefe. The committee, before concluding its hearings last week, discussed how Kenny Kunene was present when Molefe was arrested for murder. In his Facebook Live video, McKenzie told James that he has 24-hour security, which was taken as a threat by Action SA. The party says it views McKenzie's repeated attempts to intimidate James as a direct attack on an elected public representative carrying out her constitutional duties to expose criminal capture. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News.
Gauteng organised crime top cop Faninkosi has denied collecting a bag full of money from alleged crime boss Katiso Katie Molefe, saying the bag was full of biking apparel. CCTV footage before the Madlanga Commission shows Nkosi arriving at Molefe's Sandton home empty-handed and leaving with a plastic bag. Last November, head of crime intelligence at the SAPS, Dumsani Khumalo, testified he believed the bag Nkosi was carrying was filled with money. Sokoba reports.
Sergeant Faninkosi has the number of Katiso Katie Molefe saved as Daddy K on his contacts list, saying he views the controversial businessman as a father figure. Nkosi, who's an avid biker, says he got Molefe interested in the sports. He says Molefe purchased apparel from the Harley Davidson store, however it didn't fit him. Nkosi says the bag he's captured on CCTV footage taken from Molefe was filled with biker apparel he was going to return to the Harley Davidson store. Evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson says the bag looked like it was carrying something else.
Would that be consistent with a pair of gloves, some t-shirts and a helmet shield?
That's correct.
How?
Because if I was the one who was having them, that's why I know those are gloves, t-shirt and a shield.
So I suppose we'll just have to draw our own conclusions from what's there.
Evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson says Nkosi's story doesn't add up, as the apparel was bought 11 months before it was collected and he didn't end up returning it to the Harley Davidson store. Tabi Sokoba, Eyewitness News.
A leaked DA report has uncovered the party is currently coughing up more than 60,000 rand per month for its mayoral candidate in Tshwane, Celia Brink, to remain in the city. The document, signed by the party's former federal finance chairperson, Dion George, lists the names of party leaders allegedly receiving special salary top-ups. Alfara Mushwana has more.
Tshwane Mayor Celia Brink was earning a monthly salary of more than 100,000 rand until his removal in September 2024. After the motion of no confidence that saw him lose his job, the leaked document suggests he wanted to return to Parliament. However, the party convinced him to remain as an ordinary Tshwane councillor, at least until the upcoming local government elections. The party views Tshwane as a strategic metro where it could significantly grow its electoral support with Brink at the helm. The leaked report further reveals that the party's Federal Finance Committee approved a monthly payment of 62,000 rand for Brink to remain in the city. This amount is in addition to what he already earns as an ordinary councillor. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
The city of Ekurhuleni is providing relief efforts to residents left out in the cold due to weather-related incidents. 11 homes were damaged in Katlehong yesterday as a result of heavy rain and flooding. Last night, emergency personnel responded to multiple calls by residents after heavy rains blew off roofs and collapsed some walls. One elderly woman was injured and was treated by paramedics on site. City of Ekurhuleni's Diki McDonald says emergency services remain on high alert for any other incidents today.
Our primary focus is ensuring the safety of the residents of Kwanele Extension 2 and providing swift relief to those who have lost their shelter. We urge residents to remain cautious and report further damages to the emergency services immediately. Residents in the affected area or those requiring emergency assistance are encouraged to contact the city's life-threatening center.
And the chief of the European Union has called for an immediate end to hostilities in the Middle East. Ursula von der Leyen has described the ongoing conflict as a critical situation for energy supply chains globally. The call comes nearly a month after the US and Israel launched an attack on Iran. This resulted in retaliatory attacks from Iran in the Gulf region, which have affected the movement of fuel supplies. Von der Leyen says the entire globe can feel the knock-on effects on gas and oil prices and says it's important that a solution is found. Gold is trading at $4,347.64 an ounce. The rand is at 16.83 to the dollar, 22.70 to the pound, 19.63 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $104.17 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 South. This is between the Baku interchange and Corlett Drive. There's also queuing traffic reported along Club Street as well as Modderfontein Road, heading towards the N3 turnoff. This is due to an earlier accident. And on Modderfontein Road, I'm seeing roadworks along the street. Please be on the lookout there.
And in your sport, Bafana has a first training session since AFCON today. They're building up to the World Cup, but first 2 friendlies against Panama. Proteas men have a deciding 5th T20 tomorrow morning against New Zealand. And the pick of the women's quarterfinals at the Miami Open has the number 3 Rybakina against the number 5 Pagula.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng today with scattered afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 17 and 19 degrees and highs of between 22 and 24. The top story in EWN this hour, Action SA MP Derilyn James is expected to lay criminal charges of intimidation against Minister Gayton McKenzie at the Cape Town Central Police Station this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Just take a step back, will you? Just take a step back. Our big interview this morning is about the increasing concern based on the number of incidents of business killings in South Africa. We've seen investigators, lawyers, liquidators targeted, shot in broad daylight. Now, we have Gayton McKenzie, who is a minister in President Ramaphosa's cabinet, going on a social media platform, live broadcast, in which he says, let them enjoy my name. Die pad is lank. Another member of parliament, Dereline James, responds to that and says, are you threatening me? Are you threatening me? Mackenzie talks about the 24-hour security he now has at his home. So James, as you've just heard in Eyewitness News, says she's going to lay criminal charges of intimidation against a sitting minister, a sitting member of cabinet. Just take a step back.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Kabazela wants to know, 10 minutes after 6 o'clock, what were you embarrassed about once upon a time? And you look back now and you think, it was part of the journey, right? Were you embarrassed about the car that you drove? Do you remember that ad? Shit. It played a lot during lockdown. When I watched so much TV, I remembered the ads. A lady meets what clearly appears to have been a former colleague in the ad industry. She's doing her grocery shopping, and this one is still a high-powered exec, who then says, oh, who are you with now? And she's trying to think on her feet. And she looks at her bag of groceries and she says, oh, I'm with Cabage. I work for Cabage. We're doing amazing campaigns. And then the camera rolls to a cabbage. Shame. Hey? What were you embarrassed about that you now look back and you think it was part of the journey? It was part of the process. Mateo?
I think in the very beginning, when you first get your first job, the only suit I owned was the one I graduated in. And now I'm thinking, I need to cover 5 days of looking decent at work. It was tough. But I got very creative about it. Chinos and golf shirts and...
change ties.
And I'm like, I'm repeating clothes. Not noticing that my colleagues are doing the same thing. I'm just trying to impress at the time. But it was very, very normal. But I just thought I didn't have enough corporate clothes to look the part. So, yeah, one of those.
Have you found yourself keeping up with the neighbors?
You're with Bongani Bingwa on 702.
Taking your calls on 011-883-0702.
Stephen, you're in Alberton. You want to respond to our big interview. These business for hire cases, how concerned are you?
Bongani, how's it?
I'm very well. I said business for hire. That doesn't make sense. These murders for hire in terms of business killings. That's what I meant, Stephen. Go ahead.
Correct. Look, I had a lot of listeners go on about, this must be a CCMA case that is going on. They must just check the phones. And this is a low-hanging fruit for everybody to think it must be a CCMA case that is she was working. It's not. It's made to confuse and obfuscate as though it was a CCMA case.
Yep.
So if you're lazy to think beyond the obvious, this is why we don't solve these cases. It could have an unrelated, not even related to this CCMA case. It could be a case that she's working on maybe a month or two ago, and now it's gaining traction and people are concerned she was going to win. And now it's made to look like it must be a CCMA case. This is not...
Yeah.
The way it's happened, I don't...
Yeah, I think the line is cutting there. You're on the road, but I think you've made the point, Stephen, and that's why I said she, as any lawyer, might be working on several matters. It may just be that this was where it would be easiest to target her, given the lax security, I suppose, in that part of town, but it may not be related to this matter at all. In fact, I think what she was at the CCMA to do was an employment case. I hardly think that would be something for which she might be targeted and killed. But other matters she's working on, well, that we don't know yet, do we?
Good morning, Bongani and 702 listeners. So yesterday I also went to CCMA and our matter was set down for 12 p.m. And then we started a bit lateish. However, on our way to CCMA, I also passed that incident. It was very horrible. Very horrible. Condolences to the family. The lady was so young. I don't know what is happening in our country. Crime is getting out of the control. So fortunately enough, for us, we had bodyguard
So we went to CCMA with a bodyguard. The reason why we had bodyguard is because of the threats coming out of the employee who was dismissed.
Hey, Bongani 702. Unfortunate for the advocate or attorney, rather, who was murdered. But I think we are seeing a trend and we are going to see more of these murders. Also because attorneys, the law guys use the law and they know the loopholes and they use it to their benefits as opposed to the public. So many people are very angry with what transpires when it comes to the law. And such things are going to end up happening. It's very wrong. I don't condone it. But we are going to see a lot of this happening because of how some lawyers or advocates or attorneys twist the law to disadvantage individuals.
Morning, Bongani. There's only one way to find out if the cops really do work, and that's when they do come after you. I mean, there's a fraction of corrupt cops, but I do believe that most South African cops do their work. I mean, the Funded Merva case, they cracked it in a week or so. They linked high-profile people to it, and they won't crack every case, for sure. But there is a bunch of cops that do their work. Like they always say, let them come after you. Then that's when you get to see how hard they work sometimes.
Look, it's murky, isn't it? It's murky, it's ugly, and it's certainly a chilling effect. I mean, imagine you are an employer and you then have to hire bodyguards in a labor matter because you're worried that this matter might not be resolved at the CCMA, but might be resolved with bullets. What are we coming to, South Africa?
EWN Traffic.
16 after 8, the CWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we have delays on the M1 South. This is between Marlborough Drive and the Caller Drive accident. Accident has been reported along the street. There's also queuing traffic. Earlier on, we spoke about that accident seen in the city of Tshwane. It's still there on the N1 North, right near Rigel Avenue. Delays coming out of the Flying Saucer interchange. Please be on the lookout there. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a businesswoman on the way to the airport after sleeping through her alarm. Bags in the back, boarding pass on the dashboard. She prays she'll make her flight.
Hope I make it.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's the potential closing of a big deal. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
18 after 8 o'clock. How hard can it be to make a burger? Well, it turns out it's not as simple as that might sound. We're talking, of course, about MasterChef South Africa. It's on ETV every Sunday night at 6 o'clock. And the challenge was very simple this Sunday: reinvent the burger. You may remember on Friday, in fact, we offered you a chance to be a part of the fun by you showing us your own reinvention of the burger, for a chance to meet some of the contestants and some of the judges from MasterChef South Africa. So if you did, do remember to tag us, to tag me specifically, and we'll have a look at your burgers and we'll see how they compare with those that you see on the show. Shock, horror, surprise. 2 fan favorites, Miles and Buns, sent home in a last-minute double elimination. Miles went big with a local flavored burger pie, duck fat, semolina potatoes, and avocado coconut chocolate milkshake. Buns tried cabbage buns, sweet potato fries, and avo salad, but a soggy cabbage and simple plating left the judges unimpressed. Even though they have creativity and flair, time and technique were not on their side this time. Welcome to you both. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. A very good morning.
Thank you so much for having us, Bongani.
Buns, let me start with you.
Yes.
Kabaj?
Kabaj. Look, I wanted to be innovative and I wanted to really think out of the box because I automatically assumed people were going to do the conventional burger bun, you know? I'm on keto. I've been doing it for years, almost 10 years now. And I thought, I use this as a bread anyway. It could be like a great substitute for actual bread. But I guess that was my nail in the coffin.
You see, I didn't call you Bands.
Hey?
You see, I didn't call you Bands.
Why?
I called you Buns.
I mean, bands. It's
because there were no bands. Oh, bands.
Hectic. I'm fragile, okay? I'm still traumatized. So forgive me.
Miles, your burger pie was ambitious, but time just wasn't on your side, hey?
No, and I'm still furious. Gosh.
I'm going to ask you to come a little closer to the microphone. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I thought I had a really smart plan. But I think what happened in a challenge like that is that you're fooled by the simplicity of the challenge.
Yeah.
You see kind of inroads into how to kind of making it great and showing invention, but there's a lot of things you can't foresee. Like I didn't think about putting warm stuffings into buttery pastry. And I think you saw that on the episode, that things just started melting.
When did you know you were in trouble?
Pretty soon.
So that would have allowed you time to pivot, no?
Gosh, I think at that point I was too far in with my plan.
You were committed.
Yeah.
The hill you were going to die on.
When I heard that they said the burger challenge, I immediately just assumed, okay, we're going to get an hour and a half to make bread and everything's going to be fabulous. No. We just had an hour. And then also to top it off, I hate Avo on burgers, so I had to find another place for this damn Avo.
And it just wasn't working.
No.
Bans, how tough is it to have the judges breathing down your necks? I mean, I'm one of those people. I love cooking. And when I'm cooking, get out of my kitchen. Don't stand there. Don't ask me questions. Don't make me double guess my choices, right? Are you sure? Right?
That part.
How difficult is it to navigate that?
That part. For me, the biggest thing is we're already in such an environment that's unnatural.
Yeah.
Because you don't really think about cameras and having to, describe your dish while you're still like trying to chop and not cut your fingers with those sharp knives and all of that. It's unnatural. So already you're like thrown off, but you kind of expect that when you go into a reality television cooking competition. It's part and parcel of the course. And they're there to also kind of, when you see a face and you see
a clue,
then it's like a little bit of a clue. Obviously, they can't outright say A, but I love having the judges like around because you can kind of gauge if you're on the right direction.
Miles, do you like people in your kitchen when you cook?
Absolutely not. And I even found it difficult for the working space, just being a big guy and being a kind of messy cook. There were some cooks who really thrived in that environment.
Yeah.
Gosh, I was like a bull in a china shop.
And so having the judges breathe down your throat?
I mean, you could see, there was a point at which I just bumped Katlego out of the way. Get
sorry.
Out. And I said sorry.
So what's been the hardest part about leaving the show, Miles?
Well, I really felt like I could have gone further. So I was really, really, really gutted and heartbroken that day. But I still feel so privileged. I think there is that feeling of like bitter, not bitter, but like just a little disappointed.
Yeah.
But I think the more prevailing feeling is this feeling of just like, gosh,
you did
I'm part
it
of this
anyway.
amazing cast and what a great experience. And
Bands, you feel the same way?
For me, I low-key was just relieved because you kind of have that, it's pressure-filled. Like you wake up, you go to bed, like it's just pressure, anxiety. I took so many comments. The biggest thing for me was leaving the contestants. That was what gutted me. Like, never mind the million. The million obviously was the goal, but you go into a show, you spend hours shooting with people, even after the show.
Yeah.
You become close. You don't even expect to become close with people, but once you like the realization that you're leaving, you're not going to see these people anymore. Obviously, there's that sharing of a bond.
Listen, the two of you are braver than I, because it's one thing to be in a cooking competition in your own home with your appliances and implements and your own time, to do it in front of these amazing judges, these amazing cooks, week in, week out, is absolutely fantastic. I think we applaud you for even trying, and congratulations on your master journey so far.
Thank you so much.
This coming week, chocolate will be taking center stage, a cool 50,000 Rand on the line. MasterChef SA airs every Sunday at 6 o'clock on ETV.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Right, moving on to news from elsewhere in the world. Adam Gilchrist, there have been some concerns growing around the world about anti-Semitic attacks, and we've just seen one in London now.
Yeah, morning, Bongs. Yeah, I would like to say it's a bolt from the blue, but as you're suggesting, yes, there's certainly been a rise. I mean, there's been a rise in all sorts of isms and phobias. Islamophobia is one, for instance, but the anti-Semitic backlash to what? Are people equating it to the issues of Gaza or Israel now going at it with Iran? It seems a long way removed from Golders Green in North London, but that's where 4 ambulances were set ablaze in the early hours of yesterday. 3 suspects dressed in black walking towards an ambulance. We see this on CCTV footage, but they are now being sought, these 3. They were not arrested at the time. And when the ambulances are set on fire, there are then explosions. It's thought gas canisters inside. Simply, that's what ambulances have. It was terribly dramatic, knocked out windows of nearby homes and so forth. And at one stage, people had to be evacuated from their homes while the area was cleared. And it is, although not being treated as a terrorist incident, it is being acted upon by counter-terrorism police. There's a subtle difference there. But as the UK Prime Minister put it, deeply shocking, horrific, and indeed anti-Semitic, and a great concern and nervousness, not just in Golders Green, but amongst Jews and indeed generally amongst communities across the UK. Is this what happens with extremism and extremist views?
And Adam, our planet is about to get a whole lot hotter.
Indeed, yeah. What's cooking in the kitchen of the planet it's getting hot, hot, hot. So we've just had the World Meteorological Organization warning us that the Earth's climate, not just the weather, the climate is further out of balance than at any time in recorded history. Admittedly, recorded history doesn't go back multiple centuries. It goes back basically to mid-19th century. But the last 11 years, for instance, have been our planet's 11 warmest years on record. They're talking about an energy imbalance between how much heat energy is gained and how much heat energy is released. And emissions, of course, are adding to all of that. At a time of a war over oil and gas and prices surging on global markets, if only perhaps we'd listened to Prince Charles in the 1970s, we'd all be now living off wave and wind and solar power, but we're not. We all still need oil and gas and a few other things as well. But it does absolutely concentrate the mind that now we've got El Nino coming along. This is the weather phenomenon particularly affects the Americas, but can be the whole of the southern hemisphere and then a knock-on effect for the northern hemisphere too. And El Nino, whilst not necessarily a climate change event, will add to the issues that we've all got.
Now, Adam, we've seen him chase the ball, but apparently he also tries to occupy the squares.
Yeah, he's using his blonde bonce to good use, it seems. Yes, Erling Haaland, the Manchester City and Norway striker, who has a phenomenal strike rate on a football pitch, is looking to up his strike rate on the chessboard. He has helped establish a company called Chessmates, who are buying into a company called Norway Chess, which I hadn't heard of until Erling Haaland's interest. But Norway Chess own something called the Total Chess World Championship Tour. And chess is an amazing, can you call it a sport? No, it's a game. But anyway, it's an amazing game. It is absolutely taking off way above and beyond. It used to be like a couple of gigs in the corner at lunchtime at my school. No, there are chess clubs that are multiplying their memberships and much more serious championships. There's a TV show here which is all about chess and chess moves and making it quite sort of fast and funky. And Erling Haaland, the king of Norwegian football, tells us it's an incredible game. It sharpens the mind. There are similarities with football. You have to think quickly, trust your instincts, and think several moves ahead. It may explain, though, why Erling Haaland's got a bit of a goal drought. He's only scored 1 goal in open play in 12 matches. I'm just thinking he's thinking about where he's moving his king's pawn or what his opening gambit will be.
He's just going to try moving into the opposition's box. Isn't that what kings do ultimately? Adam Gilchrist with this morning's World View.
EWN Business.
Wrapping up the morning's business, hospital group Netcare, Muteo was saying operations have improved slightly, and this is due to its mental health facilities.
Yeah, the group says for the 5 months ended in February, group revenue increased by 4.5% compared to the prior period. Netcare says paid patient days grew by 0.8% for the period, comprising 0.5% in acute hospitals and 2.9% in mental health facilities. Now, paid patient days represent the total number of days services are provided to admitted patients in hospitals, often used in private healthcare to measure capacity, occupancy, and revenue growth. The firm says activity in the mental health division during the second half of 2026 will benefit from the commissioning of a new 87-bed Netcare Akiso Polokwane facility this month.
No doubt the market's already opened in East Asia. Muteo will be keeping an eye out on those. What are you seeing?
Well, the Asia-Pacific markets paired gains this morning because of the oil prices rebounding. They were down almost 14% yesterday to $99 per barrel. And that was because, of course, US President Donald Trump said there were negotiations ongoing with Iran. But Iran then responded and said they know nothing about such negotiations. That saw the oil price go up again by close to 4% this morning. The rand at 16.93 against the US dollar, 19 rand 60 against the euro. And you'll need 22 rand 69 cents to get a British pound. The price of gold at $4,364 an ounce. It's flat this morning, while platinum is at $1,868. Brent crude is now at $102 a barrel. It's up 2.5% this morning. More business from Stephen Grotes later this afternoon.
Straight to the news desk we go. Mbali Dlamini. Let's talk about George Mukhari Academic Hospital. It was flagged by the Health Ombud. What's the latest?
Well, Bongani, a very good morning. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi now says George Mukhari Academic Hospital has been declared fire compliant following critical safety failures identified by the Health Ombudsman. Yesterday, Lesufi joined the Health Ombud, Taule Mokoena, and Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi in Pretoria, where a report into patient safety was released. Mokoena made damning findings into the 2024 death of psychiatric patient Lerato Mohlamme, who was killed in a fire at that hospital where emergency system failures and poor infrastructure were highlighted. Lesufi says the province has since made the necessary safety upgrades to the hospital with only minor outstanding issues.
On the 19th of February, we received the certificate of fire compliance, meaning that the hospital now is fire compliant, even though there are still other outstanding matters that need our immediate attention.
The Nkabinde Commission of Inquiry has heard testimony pointing to alleged police brutality at the hands of Cato Manor officers. The inquiry is probing the fitness to hold office of Director of Public Prosecutions in Chauke following misconduct allegations against him. Yesterday, taxi owner from the Maphumulo Taxi Association testified before the hearing. He was part of a group nabbed by the unit in 2009. He told the Commission that the unit was a law unto itself and abused power while addressing taxi violence in KZN's North Coast. Ntlantla Mabaso reports.
According to Spamandla Mhlongo, who is the current chairperson of the KwaMaphumulo Taxi Association, he was abused by the Cato Manor officers. He told the commission that after his arrest, he was shown a picture of a taxi boss allegedly killed by police just 3 hours before Mhlongo was taken in. He says this was done to threaten him to comply with their unlawful orders, including signing twisted statements. Advocate Tembeka Ncukaitobi led evidence, reading out previous statements.
Now, item 15 is relevant, which is at 5A57. Were you in any way assaulted or threatened by any person in order to influence you to point out the sins and or points? And the answer here is no. What do you say to that?
Mhlongo says he was forced to cooperate with the officers.
The way I was, everyone, it was visible that I was beaten.
Yes, well, that
It shouldn't be correct to say no. It should be saying yes. So it is why I'm saying it was filled. Then I had no option but just to sign at the bottom of each page.
He says he has marks on his body to prove the police brutality. KZN SEPS said it will not respond to anything that comes out of the commissions yet. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News.
And the Western Cape High Court will hear final arguments to decide whether offshore oil and gas exploration off the west coast will go ahead. Yesterday, government lawyers told the court measures are in place to mitigate risks of oil spills if the exploration proceeds. Fishing groups and environmental organizations are asking the court to overturn government's decision to allow drilling in the deepwater Orange Basin between Port Nolloth and Honderklip Bay. Carlo Peterson has more.
Government lawyers say the authorization was lawfully granted and applies strictly to exploration, not production. They argue the risk of a major oil spill is extremely low and concerns raised by fishing communities were considered, with conditions added to ensure ongoing engagement. Natural Justice Attorney Melissa Groening-Groves says the environmental impact assessment had a number of flaws.
Integrated coastal management considerations have not been taken into account, and that the risks associated with such deep water drilling have also not been factored into the decision-making process.
Lawyers for both sides are set to return to court for final arguments today. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng today with scattered afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Lows of between 17 and 19 degrees and highs of between 22 and 24.
And in the traffic, we've got some issues along the N3 North. This is between Morafontein Road and Vincent Chabalala Road. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1 South between the Baklu Interchange and Corlett Drive.
The top story in EWN, Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says George Mokari Academic Hospital has been declared fire compliant following critical safety failures identified by the Health Ombudsman.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What is the IEC doing about making sure that we get particularly young people registered?
We activated a tertiary institutions campaign where we're getting young people themselves to do registration on campuses. We're launching a cast to engage with them at that level, small.
Sai, I want to see you on TikTok.
Yes, indeed, you will.
I want to see you making TikTok reels.
My speed might be compromised, but I'll attempt.
That's the way. Simon Mabolo.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
On the go and your stomach suddenly not keeping up, that burn, bloating or reflux could be symptoms of an ulcer. Stress can make it feel even worse. Ulcernic offers triple action relief by coating your stomach lining with a protective layer and works for up to 6 hours. No prescription is needed. Choose between suspension, tablets or effervescent tablets. Keep an eye on the shelf for Ulcernic's new packaging, a fresh new look on the outside, but the same trusted relief on the inside. Visit the Ulcernic Facebook page for more.
Is your skin itchy, flaky, red or discolored? You may have a fungal skin infection. Turbane treats a variety of fungal skin infections like skin thrush, a red and itchy rash with small pimples, usually in damp skin areas. Ringworm, a ring-shaped, sometimes itchy rash. Athlete's foot, itchy, red, discolored or peeling skin on your feet or toes. And jock itch. Turbane kills skin fungus and you only need to use the cream once or twice daily for 1 week compared to other 4-week treatments. Ask your pharmacist about Turbane cream and say goodbye to fungal skin infections.
Elevate your flying experience with Lift Premium. Enjoy even more space, comfort and convenience with priority boarding, extra baggage allowance and complimentary lounge access. Visit lift.co.za today.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
In for John Perlman. To what extent
Would you say that this plays in the hands of an upcoming local government election and you'd be accused of electioneering conveniently, and Madlanga Commission is a convenient tool for you to advance those objectives?
Well, if a political party is not saying something about corruption, about what its response to corruption would be and what the standards of conduct are before a local government election, they shouldn't be a trusted leading government.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi, Bongani 702 listeners. The listener who just sent a voice note about lawyers and twisting the law, therefore that's why they'd be targeted. Wow, what a interesting view. I mean, I think lawyers often just do their job, right? Their job is to protect their clients' rights and interests and make sure that they get a fair justice process, right? I mean, whether it's a trial or it doesn't ever get to a trial, whatever the matter is, the job of a lawyer is to make sure that they protect the client's rights and interests, right, within the parameters of the law. But just like with any career, there are those rogue people, there's rogue lawyers, there's rogue people in whatever career. So I think, that's such a short-sighted view, and it's actually quite concerning to know that these people out there who think like that. It's quite strange for me.
Good morning, Mr. Bingwa. Good morning to all the 702 listeners. With all these killings that we're experiencing in our country, I think it's this mentality. I don't want to call it a mentality, but it's this thing of people saying, mind your own business. When a crime happens, the first thing that people do, what do? They pull out their cell phones, they take a video. But then again, when you jump in to assist and you are the one that ends up getting hurt, then what then? So I actually don't know how this can be approached. But majority of our crimes, if people were to jump in and assist, I think we wouldn't have any of these things. But do you want now the gun to be turned on you? Do you want to be the one that gets robbed when a robbery happens and you're trying to intervene? It's bad, Mr. Bingwa. But one thing I can tell you, we've got criminals walking amongst us. Lebo from Vereeniging.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely well spotted. Let's start with that first voice note. Well spotted. The idea that maybe lawyers being targeted because they twist facts. And listen, a lawyer will do whatever it takes to win a case for their client, and that's why they cannot act in a way that prejudices their client. So I think that's well spotted, and it doesn't hold in any case in terms of the wider issue we were addressing, which it would appear there is a rise in business-related killings, and you've got to wonder what it is people want to keep hidden, want for the rest of society not to know, and of course. You've got to wonder what it is they don't want to be held accountable for. I think that, for me, is the bigger question, because it's not just lawyers who've been targeted, as we have seen. And so far as what the general public may or may not do when that incident occurs around you, I think for most people, you just don't have enough reaction time. You're so absolutely shocked because it's so brazen that it would happen in broad daylight with hundreds of witnesses around. I think most people are just completely shell-shocked when something like that happens.
EWN Sport.
17 minutes to 9. Cindy Paluta, Kabazela wanted to know, and shame, it's this cute video of this guy who is rebuilding his life.
Oh, stunning.
And so what he's done is he has deleted all his previous social media. He found himself in a scenario where the woman he loved married somebody else. I think his father was in hospital. He says he's not working and is riddled with debt, but he's on his way to recovery. And so what he's going to do is he's going to document every step of his rebuild. And he says he was embarrassed about where he found himself before, but he's going to put himself out there and be vulnerable. And people are rooting for him. People are saying, you go for it. Kabazela wanted to know, what is it that you were previously embarrassed about that you now look back as part of the journey? your first fluff on air, I suppose.
Yo.
Getting a score wrong. That's never happened.
That's daily.
Not being a supporter of pirates.
I don't think it's necessarily something to be embarrassed about, because it's something that has turned into the life story, which was that I never got a university entrance, but I still went on to get a bachelor's degree. It took me the long way round, but I got there. And I think that's very important, because so often people look at us on a public platform and they go, you know, you and especially with me, I've got a child in matric now. Like, you feel if your child doesn't get 8 distinctions, then they haven't achieved. And for me, as an example, and I think I did post this on my Facebook and my Instagram last week, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a teacher or a child psychologist. And for various reasons, one being I didn't get a varsity entrance, blah, 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 family said, you know, you don't want to do other people's problems. It's taken the long way around, but I've got there. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm a counselor, and I'm a life coach, and I'm a keynote speaker, and all those things that I thought I wouldn't have achieved, I've got them at the age of 46.
And I bet you're far more interesting as a keynote speaker than you would have been had you followed that traditional script.
You've actually given me goosebumps, because that is exactly it. You've hit the nail on the head for me. What an aha moment, because I needed life's experience to be where I am now, to go, I am now a mother. I've got the teenagers. I've been there. I know how it works. Yeah. I didn't get a varsity entrance, but here I am. And it's so important for me, more importantly for my children, to say, you know what, my mother didn't get a varsity entrance, but look where she is. Yeah. And she pursued her dreams and her goals and all of that, and to document it. And that's exactly what like last week, it was such a cathartic moment to document it, to go, guys, I got there. I got my childhood dream at 46. And so I think that's so beautiful. I would love to know this guy. I want to follow him, because I think that is so lovely, especially to document it, because when you document it in a world where where social media is seen as a platform to just criticize and not uplift,
absolutely.
It must have taken a lot for him to be so vulnerable to open up like that.
You can follow at John O'Loud. That's Kawazela's handle, at John O'Loud. He posts these videos every day.
Okay.
And that's where you'll find out.
All right.
We're also, of course, going to be documenting Bafana Bafana's readiness for this World Cup. And it starts with Panama this Friday.
Absolutely. And they start their training today for the first time. So they're getting together since AFCON. So it's been a while. Not to say that nobody's trained. They've all been with their clubs, but it's a coming together. And how Coach Hugo Bros speaking about the importance of these training sessions as they go into the Panama friendly starting Friday.
But at the other side, I want to see again a Bafana, what I always have seen in the past 3 years. That was something we lost during AFCON, and we have to reinstall that. And that's why also there are some few changes in our selection. So we will train tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday morning we go to Durban, and then Friday we play the first game.
Proteas women and men play New Zealand tomorrow in the 5th and final T20 in the series. For the men, it's a decider. Will the women go into the game 3-1 down? Protea Nadine de Klerk.
Obviously, the series is lost, but I think there's still so much to play for in this last game. And I think, we were just outplayed in all three assets, really, in the last couple of games. We just couldn't put up the runs on the board and then really struggled, I think, with the ball as well. We've tried a few different plans, a few different batting orders as well, to try a few different combinations. So I think we just haven't quite nailed as well as we wanted to. So hopefully we can finish on a high in tomorrow's game.
In tennis, Miami Open women's quarterfinals today. The pick of the games, the number 3 Rybakina against the number 5 Pegula. Also in action, golf, who plays Bencic, and Sabalenka against Baptiste. On the men's side, Yannick Sinner straight sets win over Moteda's a record 26th consecutive straight sets win in Masters 1000. And in Varsity Cup rugby last night, Tuks coming from 14 points down to beat Emirates Comets 27-24 and go top of the table, while Marty's 4-point win over Northwest put them third. UJ kept their semi-final hopes alive after they beat CUT 29-13 and UCT lost to Shimlas 40-33. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
All right, let's catch up with the morning's traffic. What do things look like now? It's nearing 9 o'clock, so peak hour delays.
Definitely,
Not quite
Bongani.
there?
Well,
Still?
we still have queuing traffic. This is along the M1 South between the Baku interchange and Corlet Drive. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South approaching the Baku turn off. An accident reported there while traveling in the city of Tshwane. Unfortunately, delays on the N1 South between the Flying Saucer interchange and Irene Water Avenue. That's due to an accident. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
One of the best things about WeWork is the freedom to move. Get 24/7 access to flexible workspaces across 66 countries, plus the choice to expand when your business scales. You can access meeting rooms, social events, all-day coffee, and a community that makes the work matter. With WeWork All Access membership, you're clocking into a global ecosystem with over 2,000 locations worldwide. Sign up for a private office before 30 April and get 1 month free access. T's and C's apply. Visit wework.co.za.
At Checkers, Easter is better and better with extra savings on every shop. Get more for less with deals on hot cross buns, 6 per pack for $36.99. Parmalat or Melrose cheese slices, 900 grams for $109.99. And Clover Butro butter spread, 500 grams for $79.99. Deals valid until 6 April. Easter, better and better. Only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Dreaming of your next getaway? Whether it's a sun-soaked beach escape, an adventure-packed tour, or a luxury cruise, Flight Centre is your center for travel. We make travel easy, affordable, and stress-free. Plus, you can enjoy exclusive traveler perks with our frequent Flighty Rewards program. Flight Centre's got you covered. Visit your nearest Flight Centre store or online at flightcentre.co.za. Flight Centre, your center for travel.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
You have Trump suddenly, out of nowhere, saying, well, he's called off the attacks on Iran's energy infrastructure for 5 days. If there is an outbreak of peace, say before the end of the week, do markets go back to what they were before?
So there has been significant damage to oil infrastructure, especially gas infrastructure in the region. Countries like Kuwait have started shutting their wells because obviously they can't do anything with the oil they're producing, and that process apparently takes quite a while to restart.
Isaac Odendaal, investment strategist.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Islamic Business Bank, celebrating 20 years of banking that honors your values. Your story matters. Absa is a registered FSP.
coming up
On the Clement Mashatile Show
on 702.
It's a complicated world, is it not, Clement?
Isn't it? Yeah.
We're talking, of course, about the situation unfolding in the Gulf.
Yeah.
You've got views?
Wow, putting me on the spot. I do have views. What we were talking about off air is that, by the way, I'm seeing now there are some reports that Israel may have struck some energy infrastructure in Iran. We're going to confirm that. But if that is the case, once again, that shows you that there is no strategy here because they are not aligned with the US.
Right?
Who is in charge? I mean, if the American president yesterday says for 5 days we are suspending what we promised we were going to do on these power plants, why would Israel then go after the very same power plants? So my question then, Bongani, is who do you trust then between the US president and the Iranians? Because the Iranians are saying there are no talks that are currently underway. President Trump says there are negotiations currently taking place. I suspect he is trying to look for an exit strategy here. You want to exit this war in a way that shows the US is still strong, because the polls are showing that Americans are not warming up to this war in Iran. So he's increasingly getting worried. But you can't walk out of the war and seem weak.
Yeah, what does he get to walk out of it? What's on the show?
So we're going to start with that conversation on the 702 open line. But at 10 o'clock, we are going to continue that chat and speak to a reporter who is in Washington, D.C. about this announcement made by Trump and what the reaction has been. And then at 10:30, we're going to have a discussion about the importance of preserving and understanding heritage sites. At 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. And today we'll be talking about navigating voluntary work, because that's very important. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with something you may or may not know much about. It's called andropause.
A what?
Andropause. It's basically like male menopause.
I may be
Have you ever-
40-11, but I'm not quite there yet. Kevin Manyatela on the radio between 9 and 12. And no, he's not volunteering.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSE, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
Do you suffer from heartburn and hyperacidity? To relieve heartburn for the whole day and night with one tablet, a potent once-a-day treatment which was previously prescription only is now available over the counter. Ask your pharmacist for an over-the-counter, long-lasting heartburn treatment. Brought to you by Sandoz.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
You're looking for powerful, thought-provoking theatre? Look no further. Momo Matsunyane stepping out of character and this time into her own story. I'm Momo and I have issues. She's here to tell us all about it. Khumutso Momo Matsunyane, a pleasure to have you on the show. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
This is raw, funny, but uncomfortable self-examination, is it not?
Yes, it is. But it's necessary in order for not just me to reflect on where I am, the country I live in, and how everything that happens continues to influence me, socio-politically or economically. But it's also an opportunity for the audience to also come and see their issues in me and leave understanding that we have a lot of work to do as the civilians of this country.
Listen, without being that NAMI friend, I'm writing an autobiography, and one of the first things, as you share things, you think, gosh, what are people going to say? How did you overcome that?
Oh my gosh, I almost did not publish. So I've just recently published this book called Plays by Momo Matsunyane Volume 1. And it consists of 3 of my works, namely Penny, Unlearn, and Kalibito La Moya. And I was freaking out because I'm just like, everyone's going to be scrutinizing my writing. Well, I'm no, Shakespeare. I'm just Momo Matsunyane with a whole bunch of stories to share. But really, at the end of the day, what matters most is that the stories exist and that they're out there, and more importantly, that they're accessible.
It's such
please, I can't wait to read.
Go easy. Go easy on me. Listen, it's such a South African thing to use humor to talk about heavy issues, right?
Yes.
And that's what you do in terms of being able to bring up topics like mental health and trauma.
Sure. Look, I think it's a dicey space. I think the trauma of post-apartheid has kind of lulled us into a comatose, humorous state, right? And so as a way of coping, we're just constantly making jokes, which to a certain degree has also just made us a lot more complacent and with less agency as a society. However, I use humor. So I also studied comedy in university. In third year, we had an option to either choose improvisation or comedy, and I chose comedy because even as I was growing up, there was something about comedy that made people look so vulnerable. And I saw how audiences were able to let their guards down and participate, but not in a way that they feel judged. And so this, I like to describe comedy and tragedy as siblings. You know, one can't exist without the other. And so sometimes, in order to really deal with the serious stuff, you allow the audience to relax, make them think this is just going to be a party, and then you hoy the real issues.
I suppose you want your audiences certainly to be challenged, maybe even entertained, but dare I say, even healed?
Absolutely, because that's why we make art, right? We make art so we can reflect the times. There's a saying that if you want to know about a society, look to the art of the time. And so it's important that we don't just create this to point fingers. We're also implicating ourselves in the state of our nation, but at the same time saying, how can we do something about it and move forward? Yes, it's funny, but at the same time, there's a truth that sits in the audience. Someone described the work as like bold, and just when you think you're laughing, there's an echo of a gasp, but it's also in aid of the healing that desperately needs to happen.
It's called I Am Momo and I Have Issues. You can catch it from the 26th to the 28th of March, so that's this weekend, and starting at 7 p.m. at the Joburg Theatre, and you can get your tickets for a lowly 180 Rand for entertainment, challenge, and healing. Kumutso Momo Matsunyane. Good luck. Have a fun show this weekend and break a leg, as they say. Hey.
Thank you so much. I will definitely break all the legs. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic stuff. I'm Momo and I Have Issues. Don't miss it.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. It's 9 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubai has condemned the killing of a lawyer in the Johannesburg. Jeanette Galichan was gunned down by unknown suspects near the CCMA offices yesterday. According to reports, she was a legal practitioner attached to Sibanye Stillwater's legal team. It's understood she was working on a labour dispute on behalf of the company at the time of her death. Police have launched an investigation into her death with no arrests being made so far. Kubai says violence can never be accepted as a means of resolving any disputes. Her spokesperson, Terence Menase.
She describes the incident as a serious attack on the rule of law and emphasizes that violence is not an acceptable means of resolving disputes. The minister urges all citizens to rely on legal